Hello, hello. Welcome to the possibly completely random solo live show. I don't do solo very often because, well, I do it with Dave most of the time, and sometimes I do it with MJ. Sometimes I do it with other people. Sometimes I do it with loads of people at the same time. But most of the time I do it with Dave. But I'm doing it on my own tonight. Uh, and I'm surrounded by books. Got books down here. I've got books there. I've got books behind because most of those shelves are TBR books. And I'm going to just ask your opinion. Maybe, especially on the replay, because maybe there'll be people who look at this later and go, "Oi, that book's really good." I'm going to ask you whether I should prioritize certain books because well, I've got so many books to read. I thought it might be fun. I don't know. Maybe it's not fun. Maybe you'll be knitting while you're watching this and being far more gripped into your knitting. I need to go to the comments quick because Greg is going to disappear in a minute. So let's say hello to Margaret first. Hello, Margaret. Thank you for dropping in. It just disappeared. What just disappeared? What just disappeared? Nothing, because it's back, which is awesome. It's a funny face. Yeah, thank you very much. It's the only face I've got. So I apologise that my face is funny. Hi, Pat. Pat mentioned something earlier that she hasn't read yet. Remind me what it is, Pat, because I think I'm possibly about to read it, or I can read it with you. I can't remember what it was you said earlier. Can't remember. Yeah, Greg, I love Kate Bush very much. On that note, women that I have this distant relationship with on my channel very soon, in the next probably about 5 minutes, there's going to be a Diane Keaton video coming up. Please don't disappear from this live stream. But I tried to get it up on the channel before I was doing this, but you know I was rushing to do it. I had to film it 3 times. I got it up, but not before I was doing this, so it's not even finished processing yet. So it's going to appear in a minute. I absolutely love Diane Keaton. I was so gutted. I got quite upset. My wife told me she knew that I was a huge fan. She sent me a message saying, "Have you heard about Diane Keaton?" I thought, oh, when you get that message, have you heard about blah blah blah? So I was getting really tense, going, "Why? What's happened?" You know. And she was so amazing, absolutely amazing. So I've done a video just talking about how amazing she was. So that will appear at some point. But yeah, it's so sad. Yeah. So that's probably my funny face. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure you agree, Margaret. I think she's pretty much well loved by everybody. I don't think anybody doesn't love her. So yeah, I think a lot of people will be upset with the news. Where did I say this thing? I think it was on the Voxer chat. I think you said you were going to read something. I'm not sure. I don't know. I was laughing at whether you had heard of Kate Bush. Yeah. I do like Kate Bush. And my first years are now discovering this as well. Yeah. Run up that hill. If I only could, running up that hill with no problem. I'm going to. Do you know what that song's about? By the way, it's a really cool thing because she does this. Her lyrics aren't. They're a little bit obtuse. They're never direct, or they're not very often direct. And running up that hill is she's got this scenario in her head of a couple that can't sort themselves out. They can't meet in the middle. They're always arguing, and one of the people in the relationship is saying to God, if you would allow us to swap places, we would understand each other more. But because we can't seem to be getting anywhere without swapping places, and if we were to swap places, we'd be running up that hill with no problem. So there we go. That's a bit Kate Bush, and just searching the lyrics a little bit. So before I talk about all these masses of books that I've got to read at some point before I die, I'm just going to tell you what I have been reading. So I am reading Project Hail Mary, and I'm reading that as part of a group read with Pat and with Lekden and with Alan and with, I'm going to pronounce the name wrong, Mariandrea. I think it's Mariandrea. And it's quite a lively chat. Um, and I think I might like it more than the rest of the group. But then that's part for the course for me. I seem to like everything more than everybody else in the world. But I do think it has its flaws, and I think Andy Weir as a writer has its flaws. But his main flaw is that his main character is always the same thing. That's his main flaw. But I do like the book. And then I've started this as well, Foxglove Summer. I've started this for Occult October, Occult Detective October. So this is the fifth, I think it's the fifth book in the Rivers of London series. Yeah, the fifth book. So that's where I am on book number 5. And this is where Peter Grant goes into the countryside and leaves London. And it's interesting actually because Peter Grant is black. He keeps saying that there's lots of white people. Like you go, there's a group of white people over there. There's some white police officers over there, and it's interesting because clearly he's aware of his own race as he goes into the suburbs outside London, and it's probably feels more like the other, which is why I think Ben Aronovich has written that into the text, which I think is really interesting. So. This has got a different feel to it, and there was a big cliffhanger in the last book, and this is departing from that. So I think it'll probably go back to that after this, but this seems to be developing into a one-off story. But yeah, I think that's interesting. So I started that as well. Let's go back to chat for a sec because Margaret's talking. Must always listen to Margaret. Neat backstory. How are you going to go through the different sections? Well, I've got some non-fiction here. I've bundled up some sci-fi together. There's one pile that's a little bit random, and there's 3 books by one author there, and then these books here are a little bit random, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be particularly neat and tidy on that front. So I apologise if that's a thing. Love the font on. Yeah, I know they're so good, aren't they? It's a really nice design. Have I got another one there? Is there another one? Yeah, I've got another one here. Lie Sleeping, which is book 8, is it? Not sure, but yeah, they've got a consistent. It's because they're usually an indication of the rivers of London, and obviously this isn't London, so somewhere else. So it's a slightly different map. So yeah, but I've got all of the series except the novellas. So once he'd written a bunch of novels, he started writing novellas for the series, and I haven't got any of those, I don't think. Now I'm thinking, did I find something secondhand in a charity shop? I might have one of them, but I don't know. But yeah, book for number 5 is turning out to be quite good. Okay, so that's the last comment. So I'll start with non-fiction. There might be some non-fiction here as well, and I'm literally going to empty these shelves. The reason why I'm doing this now like this is that this is my bedroom, and my wife is normally sleeping there, but she's gone away for the weekend, so I can dump all my stuff over there and then tidy up after I've finished. So it gives me an opportunity to do a live stream in my room, in my bedroom, which I normally do the live streams in the front room. I don't know if you noticed, it's in a different room with the picture of Chico above me and the red wallpaper. That's my live stream room. But I much prefer to do videos here because I like the fact that the books are behind me. So, cheers. So, let's have a look. So to start off with, there's a bunch of biographical stuff. This is probably quite personal because I don't know that anyone would particularly be dying for me to read these ones, but I'll tell you what they are anyway because they're definitely on my TBR, and I'm a bit frustrated that all of them are books I've had a while that I really should have read by now, and there are books that I've said on the channel at different stages. I'm definitely going to read this next or soon. So these are different stages of failure as far as saying I was going to read it. So you got the Harry Harrison autobiography. So it's a memoir. called Harry Harrison, which is clearly a play on his famous book Make Room, Make Room. So they thought to repeat his name rather than Make Room. So Make Room, Make Room I did read again recently, which is a really interesting read. It's a dystopian novel, but he tends to write quite sort of light and fluffy science fiction, not particularly scientific science fiction. But he did write West of Eden, which is definitely on my TBR, because I'm going to tell you all about that in a minute, because it's on my pile over there, and I'm trying to get lots of people reading it in December, hopefully, if I can. But yeah, Harry Harrison, I've always been a fan of his. So I'm going to put a load of stuff on top of the books I'm reading at the moment, and I bet you I'll forget that I've done that, and I'll spend days looking for the books I'm actually reading. This was sent to me by Dave Brzezinski, and it's a really interesting book where different writers, these writers here, are writing about writing science fiction and about other writers, which is kind of interesting. So I do definitely want to read that. It's a hardback. I prefer paperbacks, but clearly that's a bit of a rare book. Look at that. That's a rare hardback book, so it's a bit of a gorgeous thing to have been sent. So I definitely appreciate that. This is my I've put this up on screen so many times. This is Bill Marx's Son of Harpo Speaks. So this is Harpo's, there's a kind of faint picture of Harpo there. Harpo's son doing a biography about his dad, which I'm a huge Marx Brothers fan, especially a Harpo Marx fan. He was apparently a really lovely man in real life. Groucho wasn't as lovely, and Chico wasn't as lovely. Chico had a gambling debt and kept having affairs, and Groucho was just a little bit grouchy, whereas Harpo was apparently really lovely. So his son's going to be all glowing about him, isn't he? But I definitely want to read that, because I've got 2 boxes of Marx Brothers books that I've read, so it's a bit silly that it's out of sync with that. This one I've mentioned as well. I really want to read this, because this would probably concern me. This is a book about ADHD. Funny, isn't it? I haven't got to the ADHD book because, scatterbrain. I haven't got there yet. Scatterbrain. This is how I finally got off the ADHD roller coaster and became the owner of a very tidy sock drawer. That's what Shappy says. So she's Shappy Shandy is a British Asian comedian, and really genuinely funny. I think her stand-up routines are brilliant. So I know I'm going to enjoy this. So why the hell haven't I read this yet? I've had this ages. I found it in a charity shop and I got all excited. I thought, oh, this looks awesome. And at the time, I was looking into whether or not I had ADHD. And it's so funny, my work HR department didn't offer any help in trying to get a diagnosis, which apparently my doctor said I might be able to get my employers involved. And they said, no, they can't help. So couple of months went by, and then recently they came up to me again and said, oh, do you want to catch up chat? Can you come and see us? I said, all right. And then I went and see them, and they just went, how are you? I thought they were going to offer some help. But anyway, one day I might get a diagnosis, so I can, everyone tells me I've got ADHD, and I know I have, but it'd be nice to make it official, wouldn't it? I don't necessarily want medication, because I think there are a lot of positive sides to having ADHD, like the fact that I don't sleep very much and I'm always doing loads of things, and I've got all these different interests, and I'm always on the go, which is why my first poetry book was called Permanent Verb, because that's what I am. I'm a permanent verb, and that's an ADHD thing. I didn't even know I was writing about that. So I do want to read this anyway. See, like ramble. What a ramble. I knew this would be a ramble, but hopefully it might be a little bit entertaining, maybe. And then this is a biography of Muddy Waters, and I've just been teaching my first years about Muddy Waters. I am a big fan, and I'd love to read this. I bought this in New Orleans, I think it was. Did I buy this in New Orleans? Yeah, I bought this in New Orleans. There's a bunch of other things I could have bought in New Orleans as well. I had to be really selective because I'd already bought about 30 books. And I went into this shop. There's so many really cool music-related books, but I didn't get them. But I'll be back. New Orleans, I'll be back. Mark my words. Solidarity. BookTube promises failure. That's one of the lovely things about BookTube. Here's the failure. Oops. Hold on. I think that one might be an alternative read. Yeah. It's lovely to see oneself reflecting in someone else's pages. Yeah, I think that's why she wrote it. I think I should hopefully get some things explained, and I'll probably relate to some of it. I don't think it'll necessarily be all of it, because I think it all comes out in different ways. And I teach lots of. I've because it's music. I always get more of a share of people who have got who are neurodivergent than most other subjects. So I've dealt with lots of different people on different spectrums, and people, and I have so many ADHD students. So many. I've got one class. Half of them. It's actually my smaller class in that year, but half of them are climbing the walls all the time, and trying to get them to focus on what I'm trying to get them to focus on is a challenge. So yeah, I do get a lot of that. So I do see it. So I see myself in them sometimes. So anyway, that's that. So there's some political stuff here. So there's a book that I've had ages that I've read some of, but I want to read it properly, and that's The Good Immigrant. And this is different story, like different sort of non-fiction reflections. So not stories as in fictional stories, but stories from their own life from different writers. So different kind of essays, if you like, about immigration in the UK. This will be like really, really great to read, especially now with this is now the big topic that probably the next general election will be fought on, sadly. Yeah, I've always thought it looked like an interesting book, and I've had it quite a while, so I need to read it. So there's that one, The Good Immigrant. This one I bought when I went to London last in the political shop I went in. This is Resisting Erasure, Capital, Imperialism and Race in Palestine. And this is actually quite a short book, so I should really stick this as a priority. Again, very relevant. This is quite a new book as well. The Middle East centrality to the global oil economy gives Israel a more pronounced place in imperial power than was held by apartheid South Africa. But both cases demonstrate why it's so important to think about how regional and global factors intersect with the internal class and the racial features of settler colonies. So, an important book, I think. So, definitely want to read that. And on that note, Noam Chomsky's book on Palestine, I got that out of the loft for me to read it. I've read it years ago, but I want to read it again. When did it come out? I've got my glasses here if I need them. When did it come out? I have to use my glasses. See, a live stream, I can't edit bits out like me putting my glasses on. 2015, yeah. So I probably read it around then. This wasn't, because I had a different copy of this as well. It wasn't the only copy I've had on Palestine. Yeah. I want to read that. And this is something I said on my channel I wanted to read when I read the Billy Bragg one called The Progressive Patriot. I want to read this, and I want to do a video on it, and I want to do a video on nationalism. But I wanted to read Eric Hobsbawm's book on nationalism first, because I've got a lot of respect for Eric Hobsbawm. I'm probably going to agree with him about it, but I want to read it, see what it says. I think it's a real problem at the moment, so it'll be good to see historical perspective. And it's interesting seeing Billy Bragg's perspective on this as well. I think he's got an interesting take on patriotism, which is often confused with nationalism. But there is a Venn diagram. And a few more. This is a book called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Really, really important one for how European countries have affected Africa. And I think that's really important for us to own it and kind of see that shared responsibility that comes from that. So I definitely want to read that. Again, I found that in London as well. Looks awesome. I bought that on one of the London meetup trips when loads of booktubers got together. And then this is one I bought in New Orleans again. I bought this at the plantation that we went to. Slavery's Exiles. This is about the Maroons. So I don't know if you know about the Maroons, but these were people who managed to escape the plantation, and they kind of set up little communities in the swamps. And I don't know any more than that, but it seems really fascinating, and I want to read that as well. So, Slavery's Exiles. Just got another comment from Margaret. That one's been on my list. The How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, is that on your list? Yeah. It looks really, really good. This one was bought in New Orleans as well. This is. I was so pleased to find a Dr. John book in New Orleans, because he comes from New Orleans. Sadly, he's not around anymore, but he lived in New Orleans all his life, I think. But this is a biography of him under a hoodoo moon. And I remember when it came out, actually, because it was in the HMV shelves when it came out. Is this clickbait? MJ says, is this clickbait? Is it? Is it clickbait? Well, if it's clickbait, then that would be quite remarkable, because there's only 3 people watching this. So I don't think it's very successful clickbait. How can it be 3 if there's more than 3 people commenting? 1, 2, 3. I know, maybe you 3. Yeah, it might be just you 3 watching it. But apparently, according to the screen, there's only 3. So I don't think it's clickbait. Yeah. So let's all gather and watch my my lack of getting through these books. Hi, MJ. Thank you for tuning in. Right, so that's the pile I had for a non-fiction, but there are some non-fiction books here. So, for example, where is it? Why We Sing, which someone mentioned as a comment. Why We Sing. That was one of my failed book club books, wasn't it? So I still want to read that, but I'm going to try and read those books in some kind of order. I've still got to finish The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, which is ridiculous. Yeah, I don't even know where that's gone, actually. But yeah, Why We Sing, definitely want to read that, because singing is one of the oldest things that we do. We did that as cavemen. We did it, we've always done it. Yeah, it's the first instrument we learned to play. We were hitting things as well, but we have always sang, and it's very good for us. And there's lots of research saying that choirs are very good for your health, and it's probably a really brilliant book. So yeah, Why We Sing is definitely one I want to read. What else you got? Oh, this was an important one that I wanted to read. The Crusades Through Arab Eyes. Really wanted to read this. I've got 4 watching this now. That's nice, isn't it? The Crusades Through Arab Eyes. Really wanted to read that, because the way it's taught in our schools, the Crusades is seen as, well, it's not really seen. It's done very objectively. It's not really necessarily flag waving stuff about how wonderful Britain is, but it's definitely not in a kind of imperialist way, which is ultimately what it is. So it'd be interesting to see the Crusades through Arab eyes, So I definitely want to read that. And then this one is about my favourite historical event, which is the Black Death. And again, I haven't read this yet, but I saw a new book about it, and I was like, oh, I'm grabbing that. The Scourging Angel, the Black Death in the British Isles. So this is about the British effect on the Black Death, or the Black Death's effect on the Britain. The other way around, really, we didn't affect it. So yeah, that's an interesting one I'd like to read. Oh my God, there's so many books to read. So MJ says hello back. Choir version of modern rock songs are a big hit as audio clips on TikTok. Just saying. I love watching. There's a YouTube channel called Choir, and they get the original songwriter from the song on stage with them, and then they in a lot of their videos, and then they do this huge choir version of a rock song, and it's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. And when I had a staff choir and when I had a student choir, that's what we used to do. We used to do rock songs. So it wasn't, and songs I'd written. So, when I say choir, I don't mean classical choir doing choral, you know, Verdi or whatever. So that's some more non-fiction. Is there some more non-fiction here? Is there some more non-fiction here? That's a really good book that I've read a lot of. It's a really good book. Protest Stories of Resistance. And I'll just quickly tell you about this. So it's all in chapters that go through different events. So you've got, you'd love this, Margaret. It's quite good you're here because you would definitely like this. You've got the Peasants' Revolt, the Midland Rising in 1607, the Diggers, yay, in 1649. The I'll try and read this. The Radical War in 1820. National Blind March 1920. There's loads. It's just, yeah, I won't read it all. Section 28. Oh, 1988, Section 28. The Welsh language protest, 1979. The anti-Iraq war demo. I was there, 2003. Yeah. Protest Stories of Resistance is a good one. But I would, who's the publisher? So this is published by Comma Press. Is that right? Yeah, Comma Press. There's a comma there. Comma Press. So yeah, I think you'd like that one. And it covers some of the period that you write about as well, doesn't it? So, and then this is one I bought. Oh, these two are well good. These are book ones I bought in London. The Great Level of Violence and the History of Inequality from the Stone Age to the 21st Century. Violence and the History of Inequality. The Great Leveler. So, you know, it's obviously saying violence is part in social change. Kind of interesting concept there for a book. It's quite a big one as well. What's this? This is... Oh! Is this what I think it is? Yes, it is. That will take too long to explain. So anyway, that was a half anecdote. And then there's this one, which I got very excited about when I saw it. And it's very expensive. And I already spent loads of money in this particular shop. So Resistance to Christianity, a chronological encyclopedia of heresy from the beginning to the 18th century. So a big old title. And, you know, proper detailed. It's not like one of those things with like very small writing and big headings. It's like lots and lots of detail. And clearly a Hieronymus Bosch cover, which is very dramatic and wonderful. But yeah, this looks really cool. So again, I want to read that as well. This is all non-fiction stuff. Oh, there's more non-fiction there. There's and the Groucho one. So this is Groucho's daughter, Miriam Marx. So the letters that he wrote her. But this one is the biography of Phil Oakes. I couldn't believe that when I saw that. Saw that in Brighton, in the what's they call it? The big random shop, huge random shop. I can't remember what it's called. My mind has gone blank. But yeah, finding the Phil Oakes biography was pretty special. So don't know if you know Phil Oakes, but he's a political activist and singer-songwriter who literally committed suicide because he was too frustrated with the world and his lack of change. But he wrote There But For Fortune, so that's one of his big ones, There But For Fortune, and I Ain't Marching Anymore. And my favourite one of his, which I've performed many times, is When I'm Gone, which if I do, I might be doing a series of gigs for my channel at home. I might be doing that. If I do that, I'll probably do when I'm gone. But yeah, Phil Oakes, Death of a Rebel, amazing stuff. Okay, so I think that's probably a lot of the. Yeah, I think that's a lot of the non-fiction. So let's get to the fiction because it's already half an hour in. Okay, so I'll just tell you some things that I know is definitely on the cards anyway. So in November, I think it's November. Is it November? Yeah, November. I'm reading this with Dave. So, sorry. This is Snooper's Paradise. Snooper's Paradise. What a I love that place. And when I go there with my daughter and my wife, they kind of go, yes, you can go in there, and they leave me in there while I carry on looking around the jewelers and stuff. They don't seem to like it as much as I do, but it's a fantastic place, Snooper's Paradise, because it's completely random. You can see anything there. And yeah, so I'm going to read this with Dave. There's a follow-on from when we read the first one with Joe. Joe's already read. There's this one. I think he's about to read the third one, or he's read. I can't remember. If you're watching this, Joe, on the rewind, then comment below where you are with this. But he loved the second one, and I think we both felt like we couldn't read a big tome like this at the time when straight after we read the first one. But the first one was good. But I borrowed this from Richie in the band. He loves that series. Yeah. So anyway, also Pat, if you're still here, I need to read this, don't I? I want to read this for the band books project. So, I haven't got it here, but Lolita was on my first. That was my first book call for the band project, but this is on there as well. So I do need to read Catcher in the Rye. I read this when I was at school, so I don't remember everything about it. But I was kind of a little bit. I don't think I was a big fan when I was a kid, but I'm hoping with your influence, Pat, I should like this more this time round as an old man. So we'll see. But I do want to read Lolita first, even though I'm so hesitant to read it. It's been in my bag at work every day for about a month, and I'm just very nervous to read Lolita. I think it's because I don't know the idea of, guys. I know it's first person, I think, isn't it, Lolita, and the idea of seeing the world in that lens. I don't know. It's a little bit. You can read a Robin Hood book every February. I am definitely reading fantasy every February, but I'm hoping I would have read it by February. Royal Assassin is one of the best in the series. Oh, cool. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I've got a few things. Heidi, I'm glad you're here because I will be mentioning the one that you keep telling me to read. So that's. Where's that gone? Where's that gone? Oh, there it is. Look. So we'll be mentioning that in a second. February. February. I'm always going to read February. I'm always going to read fantasy in February as a tribute to Scott. So the Bookish Bryants created an event that happened for a couple of years. February Fantasy. What was it called? February Fantasy. I don't know. I can't remember. Fantasy February. The point was that we all read short fiction in February when they were running that event. And when Scott died, I decided that I would always make February Fantasy Month as a tribute to Scott, who I still miss. He was a lovely man, and it's just so sad that we lose these people. I've read all 16 Eldlings books. Hi, Aaron, by the way. Just reading your comment about saying hello. Love it. The second trilogy is my favourite. Okay. So I have to read the first trilogy to enjoy what she writes. Fantasy. Well, that can't be confined. No, it won't be confined to 1 month. No, it won't be. But however I read fantasy in other months, I will definitely stick to fantasy in February as a tribute. February fantasy. If I had my wish, Gavin would read a fantasy book every month. Well, yeah, I mean, it's relatively random in some ways, which is why this TBR video that I'm doing now, I feel it's quite relevant because I'm kind of reminding myself of these things that I'm supposed to be reading, and maybe you guys can go, read it. From here, that looks like you're giving me the middle finger, Margaret, from here. So I'm really hoping that you're not, and it's like that. Maybe it's a thumbs up, maybe, rather than flipping me off. Yeah. Still can't do a video about it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I imagine I might feel like, what do I say without? I don't know. I mean, it's Dave's favorite book, and there are people who love it, and they say it's a disturbing book. It's not right, but it's brilliantly written. So I don't know. I'm a kind of, that's the intriguing thing, I guess. And obviously you have read it, but you must find it hard to maybe tread the line, maybe, I don't know, or know how to phrase what you thought of it. I don't know. You have to tell me. But yeah, it's a funny one. Shiver Magic is my number one. Oh yeah, so that's in that trilogy. There you go. Funnily enough, the second trilogy is like starting a completely different series. Oh, okay. But I thought it was sensible to because I think that was the first one she'd written, wasn't it? The first one in that series. Is that the Farseer series? Farseer trilogy? Yeah, the Farseer trilogy. I can't even remember what it's called now. What was the first book called? Assassin's Apprentice? Have I made that up? Yeah, Assassin's Apprentice. Yeah. So I thought that was the first book she'd written. And I really did enjoy it. And then sometimes some characters come back, right, to some other parts of the series. So I guess we should read that, Pointing upwards to confirm Heidi's point. Absolutely. I'm sure it wasn't what it looked like from here. It's very small. It's a very small icon. So, yeah. So, as I've mentioned it, and we're talking about fantasy, let's talk about these two. And then we'll see if there's any more fantasy things. There's that one as well. That's a fantasy thing. Any more fantasy? Any more fantasy? Oh, there's another banned book. Look, there's the big one that started the whole thing. I'll mention that in a minute. Any more fantasy? Any more fantasy? Yeah, is that one? I'm going to decimate my shelves in this video. So I bought because I heard it was a heist, and I thought, yeah, I'll go for this. Hold on. You want to read the Farseer first? Yeah, that's what I thought. So Six of Crows. I have Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. And Six of Crows is obviously the thing that made her name big, but she's written other things since then that has kind of maintained that or made her name bigger. I'm not sure, but I know this was a really big moment in her career. It's a very cool kind of cover there, isn't it? So yeah, is it YA? I don't know if it's YA or people just accused it of being YA in a derogatory sense. But I don't care if it's YA or not. But I am intrigued. So Six of Crows is Binti. Can you see Binti there? Binti, can you see that? Oh, you can see it there. Boop, boop. Well, Binti's science fiction, isn't it? I don't know if I mean, I've read Binti. That's one of the few books over here that I've read. I've read that. I've read Bloody Rose. I absolutely love that. I did a video about it. I've raved about Bloody Rose. I love that. Those two books. I've read Life of Pi. And I've read some of these other things. But yeah, most of it is TBR. But yeah, has anyone read Six of Crows? Tell me if you read it and you liked it. Oh, hold on. Got a comment. The cancelled show was too good for this world. Oh, there we go. So you like the TV adaptation? I never know where to draw a line. Well, Michael K Vaughan did a video where he was very absolute about science fiction, and I actually disagreed with him on a couple of points he made. And there's definitely some crossover sometimes, which is usually when people say science fantasy. I didn't really feel like there was that much fantasy in Binti, so I don't know. I might have to read it again to figure out which bits would make it more science fantasy. But for me, that was quite a clear science fiction thing. I think fantasy is the presence of magic, and obviously science fiction. There's a whole load of stuff that makes something science fiction. If it's futuristic, or if it's in space, or if it's aliens or time travel or whatever, things like that. So there's this one as well, which is by Christopher Borman, The Black Tongue Thief, which Heidi recommended. I bought it because Heidi recommended it, and and I'm quite confident I'd like it as well, knowing little bits about it. And once I read this, then I want to buy Between Two Fires. But again, I'm trying to get rid of loads of books, so I need to read this first, and then I'll buy it. And I've never seen it in the shelves over here, so I might have to buy it in America. I nearly bought it in America, knowing that I couldn't find it over here. So Between Two Fires is actually difficult to find, but this is supposed to be brilliant. Hold on. I'm always surprised when people like one and not the other. Well, as in science fiction and fantasy, because yeah, I think there is because there is a lot of crossover. Sorry, I was distracted by messages coming up. Yeah, there is a lot of crossover. I think if you're into real epic fantasy, you don't very often get those kind of tropes in, like some of those tropes in science fiction. There is a big difference in some ways, but I don't know. I mean, there are lots of authors that write both. There is a lot of crossover. There's a Venn diagram. I like both. But when I first started reading properly, I started switching to fantasy a little bit when I was younger, and then concentrate on science fiction more. And I try and dabble between the two. But yeah, this is one that I want to read. Michael Kist absolutely loves Six of Crows. He's a booktube I really like, mainly history, but reading more fantasy. Okay, his name rings a bell. I think I've seen his channel. I think this is one that I bought recently because it's basically being advertised exactly like the Nicholas Eames books, and I love the two Nicholas Eames books, Bloody Rose and Kings of the Wild. I really love those two books a lot. So as this is being literally like, it's got a song title on the cover just looks like his books, and it's got a Nicholas Eames blurb as well. It's like, oh my god, this is definitely trying to capture the readers of those two books. So I bought it, The Bone Raiders, and I'm hoping this is going to be good. So I do want to read that as well. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Now I'm wondering, I don't think you necessarily, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say one difference in science fiction and fantasy is there a lot less political fantasy than there is political science fiction. Well, did you say that was true? Not sure. There's a prequel, Daughter's War. Oh yeah, that's on the shelves over here. But it's a prequel, yeah. So I'll read the other one first. You will love the Black Plague book too, Between Two Fires. Yeah, absolutely, because I love the Black Death. It's awesome. Never seen the channel before, but just checked him out. Neat how you can spread word about channels and tell the algo to bugger off. Nice. And then this one is another one I bought, which again intrigued me. It seemed like a little bit of fun. The Malevolent Seven, little play on the Magnificent Seven, and seven random fantasy characters coming together to do something nefarious, I guess. Yeah, it looks like a bit of fun. It's kind of got a bit of a tongue-in-cheek blurb on the back. Riveting, brilliant and vivid world building, apparently, according to the director of John Wick. The SFX magazine said chaotic energy, clever ideas, and characters that stay with you. So yeah, that's one that I'd like to read as well. Oh, Heidi's got to go. So she said, catch you on the replay. You need to read Boudica, Dreaming, the Eagle Quartet, and the Warlord Chronicles. Okay, I need to look back on this and write these things down. So, but I don't own those, so there's less pressure to read those. So that's a little bit of fantasy. Is there some more fantasy? Let's see if there's more fantasy in this lot. A lot of these are science fiction and crime and stuff like that. I am going to read this, which again, this is Joe from Book Buds. He sent me this. It's his favourite TJ Klune book, so I'm going to read this next month. If I'm reading this and the Robin Hobb one, that might take me the whole month. So yeah, this looks really good. And again, this is one that I think TJ Klune published himself, and I don't think I'll ever. I don't think I'd get another chance to have this. So this is quite special, really. So not just special because Joe just sent it to me saying, "Gareth, I think you'll like this," which is lovely. But I don't think I would have found it anyway. Otherwise, I need to put this somewhere where it's going to be protected. I second both of those. So second both of those. What is he seconding? He's seconding Boudica Dreaming, the Eagle Quartet, and the Warlord Chronicles, I think. Thank you, Aaron. I'll second the Boudica Quartet. Okay. Third, yes, awesome. So I need to seek out the Boudica Quartet. My wife's. This is random, but my wife said that if we get another dog, and it's a female, she wants to call the dog Boudica. And I do want to get another dog because if and when the inevitable happens and I lose Rowlf, I don't want to not have a dog. So it sounds like we might have somebody called Boudica. I buddy read it with Sarah. Oh yeah, and often mentioned how it reminded me of the Warlord Chronicles. Oh okay, yeah. So there's a link. Okay. Is this all? Is there any other? Okay, let's talk literary fiction. So, see, there's this James. I've got a few bits of Percival Everett, so I've got Telephone as well. So there's James, which has obviously made him a bit of a superstar, and there's Telephone, which I don't think people talk about, and possibly the first one that people really raved about, The Trees. I've got that from the library. Like you can see, it's a library copy. It's got the classic library gubbins. So I've renewed this a few times. I can't renew this forever, so I might have to read that soon. But I've got Telephone and I've got James, and I wanted these because I loved Erasure so much. So I have only read one book by him, and that's Erasure. So I need to read these, and Percival Everett is pretty awesome. I mean, I've only read one book, so that might be a bold statement from me, but I'm very optimistic about these. I'm sure they're good. But if you're watching this and there's a particular one that you think I should read first out of these, maybe you'll all say James. I don't know, but that was really acclaimed, and it might be interesting to read the one that's not as talked about. I don't know. The Telephone cover is new to me. It's quite an interesting cover. So does that mean you're familiar with a different cover? Because that's the only version of this I've ever seen. And you've got The Trees. Maybe we could buddy read it. The Trees, if you want to do that, Aaron. That might kick me up the arse. So there's Percival Everett. There's a book here that is bound to end up on my in my hands to read it, just because I read everything she's done. And the last thing I read was Dragon Palace, but then before that was The Third Love. So I need to read a new one, which is Under the Eye of the Big Bird, Hiromi Kawakami, which I've now noticed is on paperback. That's how long I've had this. But also, not only that, I would prefer paperback. So I'm like looking at it going, oh no, why haven't I got the paperback? But there we are. It does have a nice sound if you bang it. But I prefer paperbacks. So Under the Eye of the Big Bird. Apparently this is dystopian, I think. And she's always interesting. Yeah, I'd like to read this because, to be fair, I think if I read this, I would have read everything that is available over here. So there's quite a lot of books that is available now, but I've been quite up to date with her. That's the last one that I haven't read. So go read Hiromi Kawakami. She's amazing. MJ says, did you watch his interview with Dua Lipa? Yes, I did. And I think it's awesome. And it's so cool that somebody like Dua Lipa, this pop superstar, has this really interesting channel where she interviews authors. And I noticed, I was in a shop today and I noticed that, do you remember the singer Amory? She's got a book club on YouTube. And I knew about that a while back and I've watched it a few times. But also, she's just written a book. And that was on the shelves in Forbidden Planet. I think it was. Was it in Forbidden Planet? So I think it must be some kind of sci-fi fantasy thing. But Amarie's written a book, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, Dua Lipa has got this awesome channel where she interviews authors, and she interviewed Percival Everett. It's a really cool interview, and yeah, it's just interesting seeing another side to these people beyond the big dance routines and costume changes. You know, fantastic. Yeah, I did see that. Good shouting that out. We're going to mention John Steinbeck for a minute. John Steinbeck. So I didn't get to the Grapes of Wrath when everyone else was reading it, so I ought to read that. And I did in the back of my mind, I really wanted to read this before the end of the year. So I don't know. That's definitely something I'd like to do because I'm sure I'm going to love it. And I feel a bit gutted I haven't read it yet. But there's a couple more that were on my radar. Sweet Thursday was one I wanted to read ages ago, and that's a sequel to Cannery Row, and I love Cannery Row. So I really want to read that. And I know that the group that I was in, and not really participating much in, but I was in, was reading The Winter of Our Discontent, which I've got as well. And like Margaret said, we were going to read East of Eden, and I didn't get to that. So yeah, so Margaret didn't finish that. So did you start it? Why didn't you finish it? Were you enjoying it? Did you have to start something else? Was it a bit of a slog? Let me know. Grapes of Wrath is really good. Yeah, I'm sure it is, Aaron. So yeah, I need to do that. So MJ's got to go. Thanks, MJ, for popping in. Appreciate it. Ciao. I like it better than East of Eden. I think a lot of people do. So I guess those are the two that kind of compete with each other in Steinbeck fans' minds. But I don't know. I've read I think six books by him, seven, either 6 or 7, and they're all the shorter ones. So I haven't read the 2 big ones. But I haven't. But I guess it's because it takes me a long time to read a big book. So, you know, when I said I was reading Project Hail Mary, that's taken me a lot of the month, which is why I haven't been able to read the October stuff, the occult detective stuff until halfway through the month. And yeah, it's just taking my time. What is it, the 12th of October? And I feel like I should have read more by now. But, you know, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. But it is something that I consider if I'm going to read something big, you know, because I was going to try and tackle it at some point as well, which I haven't got in this pile, but I wasn't liking it. Guilty look towards Pat. That's interesting. So, but you like other things by Steinbeck, right? So was it that it was just so like detailed? There was like just like too much, like overwritten. Is that what it was? It was too much of like description and not enough happening. Was it a bit like that, or was it just you didn't like what was happening? I'd love to know because it's obviously one of the big ones. There's a couple of other kind of literary fiction type things. So I don't really know a lot about Saul Bellow, but I bought this in a charity shop because I saw it and I'd heard the name, and I thought, and it was like a Penguin classic, and I thought, let's go for it, let's get it. So I don't really know much about this. So it could be that someone watching this might go, oh my God, he's amazing. Or they might go, oh, he's a bit overrated. Or I don't get it, he's crap. I don't know why he's famous. So let me know. But I did get this, and this could be something I read to continue my occasional nip into the classics, into the acclaimed authors. Bellow is one of the giants at the 20th century novel. Read Caesar Day and see why. I think I deliberately didn't read the back because I wanted to go in blind when I did read it. So I don't know. It could be I did read it, but I've forgotten because you know that happens. There's another one. There's small comments. I like his short ones too, but I think the 2 big ones are his best. Okay, that's cool. I think that's probably true for a lot of people. Margaret said it wasn't the writing, it was the characters and the stark evil and religious references that were bugging me. So yeah, I mean, there's kind of big moralistic themes in some of his smaller ones, but I didn't know he had such a. Maybe I'm a little bit ignorant on this, but I didn't know for sure that it was like a Christian push as much as a general vague spiritual push. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's interesting that's how you found that. So something for me to look out for, I guess. I heard sorbello and thought, oh, was that like sorbet? Yeah, sorbet, sorbeo, like Scott Baio. It's a bit like that. And then I've got this, which I couldn't nip into, to be fair, because I think these are like just general short things. It'd be great to nip into this. And this is a selection of writings by Dorothy Parker. So I'm just curious about her. I don't really know that much about her. I know that the only thing I know about her, again, this is like my Marx Brothers knowledge. I know that Groucho Marx felt intelligent being around her. He said that, and other people said that about him, and Harpo said it about him, that he liked hanging around her and the other kind of intellectuals that were her friends because he felt more intelligent being on the same table. So it's kind of sparked my curiosity. And obviously, she's a bit of a figure. I know Jennifer Jason Leigh played Dorothy Parker in something. What did Jennifer Jason Leigh play Dorothy Parker in? Comments below. I can't remember. But she played Dorothy Parker in a film. And I think I saw the film. But anyway, these are really short little things that she's written. So I could nip into. I could read this while I'm reading other things. So I need to just be more aware of that kind of thing, and juggle a few things. You know, why not? So I think that's the literary fiction stuff. I think there's some crime. Okay, Aaron's now quoting Groucho Marx. Outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend, but inside of a dog, it's too dark to read. Was it Groucho? I think it's either Groucho or Woody Allen. I think it was Groucho who said, "I don't mind dying. I just don't want to be there when it happens." That one does make me chuckle. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So if I tell you what, if you don't know this, I'm going to tell you this about Groucho Marx. So my memory tells me that this was his son that he was defending, but I heard someone else tell the story and say it was his daughter. So it could be that I've remembered it wrong. But anyway, in the Groucho letters, there are like lots of letters that he wrote, and he wrote to this swimming club to apply for what I thought was his son, but apparently might be his daughter, to join the swimming club. And remember, he was Jewish, and his children were half Jewish, and they wouldn't let him in, or her in, either one. They wouldn't let his child in because it was restricted. So they wrote back and said, "We cannot let your child into the swimming club because you're Jewish." So Groucho wrote back and said, "Well, they're only half Jewish, so can they go in up to their knees?" I just think that's amazing. Can they go in up to their knees? What a way to tackle racism! Amazing. Any club that would have me as a member, I wouldn't want to be a member of. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, he had a sharp mind. So there we go. Groucho Marx. Good clap back, absolutely. It's so brilliant. That never gets old. Yeah. He's only half Jewish. Can he go up to his knees? Amazing. Nicole's here. Hello, Nicole. This is relatively. It's not that random, but the books I'm going to show might be a bit random. I'm just going through these hundreds of books that I need to read, and this is the tip of the iceberg as well, which is what's so depressing. But I thought it might be fun to talk about it. And actually, I'm getting lots of feedback. I'm getting lots of thoughts about what she's reading. It's great. So it's nice to have this as a conversation rather than just a video. If you did this as a video, I think it'd be a bit one-dimensional. But it's great having this as a conversation. So there is this as well, and I've got my bedside cabinet is full of books. So I don't know what's bedside cabinet supposed to be full of. Notepads, things you need for your nighttime activities. What would that be? Oh, yeah, I guess that could go down a dark road. Whenever I have a lot of books, I go for the books that I've owned for at least 6 months or older. That's very efficient of you, and that's very sensible of you. I'm not sure if I could ever be that sensible. So that's really interesting. Not sure what would help here, Nicole. And in my case, I tend to go for recent ones faster, I fear. Yeah. Tend to go for recent ones. Oh, okay. So you go for the recent ones you bought, and Nicole goes for the ones that she hasn't, that she's owned for at least 6 months. So, I mean, I tend to go for either something that's related to an event or something that I like to pick up and I go, oh my God, I forgot I had that and I can't wait to get to that kind of thing, I think. Why is there a dollar sign on the corner? What's that do? New to streaming. Check out StreamYard. Oh, I don't know. Don't know what that is. Did that appear on the screen? Anyway, don't worry. It doesn't matter. I'm on a book buying ban. Yeah. All this year, and I've been so good. I'm down to 18 books. Is that what your TBR is now? 18 books. That's amazing if that's true. Well done. That's cool. A lot of self-discipline. You just shared your referral link on accident. Oh, okay. We'd say by accident over here. So we'd say, you've just shared your referral link by accident. The lowest I've had since I was a teenager. That's amazing. Well done. I loathe. So I raised the links in my description. Oh, StreamYard. I loathe StreamYard now. Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't tried another one to do it really. I don't really count my TBR on Goodreads because that's a dream. Yeah, I never put. Well, I say I never put. I don't take seriously the to be or want to read. I've got a very small want to read. There's nowhere near like this lot on Goodreads, and I don't even look at it, so it's not a lot of point. Mark says 18. That's amazing. Yeah, that is really cool. Yeah, well done. Lots of self-discipline there. So I've got some crime things here, but yeah, I've got a whole bedside cabinet full of crime as well. I think after I've done these ones, it will be lots of science fiction. Well, there's a new Stephen King book, although it's not the very new. I've got the latest one as well because I found that second hand. I couldn't believe it. It was like £5. Was it £5? I think it was £5. The Never Flinch, which is another Holly book. But You Like It Darker. I've got that now, which is very cool. So this is a short story collection that was recently reviewed by Pat, but I'm pretty sure Olly's probably reviewed it as well, and tons of other people would have done, wouldn't they? Because it's Stephen King. But yeah, my Stephen King shelf is over there, and I've got 2 boxes of Stephen King in my loft, but I've got about 20 Stephen King books down there that I haven't read yet, that this will be part of. And I'm still reading Eyes of a Dragon, aren't I? So, but I'll just go through these quick crime ones. So I've got tons of crime ones I could show. There's loads of McBain ones that I could read. It's a very striking cover, isn't it? The Let's Hear It for the Deaf Man, another a great title as well. So, and these are quite short, so it would be good to read these. Not for number wise, just because I'm kind of curious. I've read the first one, the first. What's it called? 87th. Is it 87th Precinct? Yeah, 87th Precinct series. I read the first one, which was called. Oh, what was it called? Cop Killer? Cop Killer? Something like that. Cop Hater. Yeah, and that was really good. I really enjoyed it. So I want to read more. So I've got loads. I've got about 12, I think, now. So I need to read them. And then this one is the James M. Cain book. I really want to read this. These are short stories. But he wrote The Postman Always Rings Twice, which is a really good book. Really good book. Really incredibly atmospheric book. And this is a book called Baby in the Icebox. Baby in the Icebox. What a title. Baby in the Icebox. That sounds like a Meatloaf song. There's a baby in the ice. No, it doesn't sound like a Meatloaf song. I have a little bookshelf with the books I haven't read, and that helps a lot. Yeah, not sure if that's doable for your collection. Well, yeah, I've got a room full of them. That's very strict. Yeah, yeah, being strict with myself is very difficult. Can't do that very well. What I'm learning by redoing my shelves is which section I have been letting build up without reading. Yeah, yeah, and I could rearrange these a little bit. I mean, the top shelf, the front bit of the top shelf is all hard case crime books, but there's a load of J.G. Ballard stuff up there as well, and some Roald Dahl books up there as well. But I'm probably not going to get those down. I bet that's simultaneously fun and scary, Margaret. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Getting those reorganized. But Cop Hater, yeah. So you read that one, yeah? It's good, wasn't it? I thought it was a thrilling thriller. There's a baby. There's a baby. Yeah, exactly. And then some Raymond Chandler books here. So I have actually got The Big Sleep in this series as well. So The Long Goodbye and The Little Sister. Little sister, won't you please, please, please? So, yeah, two Raymond Chandler books that I need to buy to read, and The Big Sleep is in that series. That's another one I need to read. I haven't read any Raymond Chandler yet. Have you decided to do another book haul? Unhaul, yes. I've got rid of 7 boxes of books over the last few months, and I've got another 4 boxes. 2 boxes I'm going to sell to World of Books, and 2 boxes that they don't want that I'm just going to give to a charity shop in the next little while. But it's really annoying because World of Books won't let you do it on a weekend, and I'm never in the weekdays until I have a week off. So yeah, they're waiting to go out, and I can't even do it at the start of my week off because I'm going on holiday. So it's very difficult to do this thing of getting money for the books you want to get rid of. But yes, I am unhauling tons, and I'm trying to unhaul so many because I counted my books and I had what was it? Something stupid like 1800. Yeah, 1800. Might be 1900. It was a stupid amount of books I had, and my mission is to take it down by about 500 at least. To get rid of 500 books. So this is me either deciding that I'm not going to read it, or that I've already read it and I don't need to keep it. So I'm trying to be brutal, and I have already got rid of some books I did want to read, but thinking I'm not going to read that yet, and I'll buy it again if I want to read it, kind of thing, just to be a little brutal about it. So Aaron says I used to have a TBR shelf, but it's not. It's more of a seismic. Yeah. 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 Those want to cross off the to-do list but can't because of logistics is painful. I relate. Yeah. Yeah. It's an ongoing problem, isn't it? Another thing that helps is whenever I know I don't like a book, I set them aside and then do my usual walks to a bunch of little libraries. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't keep books for the sake of it anymore. So I have got rid of so many books that I was keeping before just to have a collection, and to maybe, if I thought, oh, I might need that for a video, I'll keep it. But ultimately, I've reconciled myself to the idea that maybe I won't show the book every time. Maybe I'll have a little picture of the cover in the corner rather than picking up a book and waving it at you. You know, it's not really a good reason to keep a book. If you're not going to read it again, don't keep it just for the videos. That's madness. Power walk with lofting books in each hand. Wow, yeah. So powerlifting, yeah, with lifting books in each hand. If it's doable where you are, can you set up your own little library? Wow. I wouldn't have a clue how to do that. And really, I haven't got a lot of time because I've got my full-time job, I've got the band, I've got this channel. I haven't got time to. I'm supposed to be writing stuff. I don't put any time into writing. I haven't really got time to start a library as well. But I love the idea. So yeah. I know she's not here anymore, but this is one I want to read as well for the Banned Books project, because MJ read this and then started the 24 for 24 project because of this book, and I bought it because to me it was a key part of the Banned Books project, because it was what, I don't know if you remember, but she put up that really emotionally charged video once she read it and found out it was banned. She was really upset by the fact that this was banned, and I think it'd be good to read it from that point of view. So Perks of Being a Wallflower is definitely one I want to read as well. There's another John Steinbeck one that I've put next to the other ones, but it just slipped away. Tortilla Flat. So that's another John Steinbeck one as well. I've got about probably about 8 Saramago books I haven't read yet, and this one should have been read because these are short stories and it's quite short. So why the hell haven't I read that one? But I'm a Saramago fan, so I've read 4 of his books, and yeah, I do like him a lot. Let's have a look at the comments again while I'm looking through these books. I've got the tools, but I've got no wood and no land. You can buy little libraries online, and then you just set it up and then put your books in it. We'll figure out if you want it in your front yard or not. I always found it interesting that MTV published that Wallflower book. Did it? Is it published by MTV? It might not be now. That's curious. Yeah, first published in the USA by MTV Books / Pocket Books. So if MTV owns Pocket Books, this is still from Pocket Books. So yeah, that is interesting. I guess there was a film version, so maybe they owned that as well. That's why I haven't done one in our yard. My PTSD would be screaming every time someone popped up on my yard. Did they? Interesting. Hold on. I've seen people put them right next to their mailbox, but it definitely does depend on if you want that traffic. I saw a guy with his car boot open using his tools to saw through a series of mailboxes today. Portland. Yeah, I've heard that it's gone a bit crazy over there. Oops. The author directed the film. Oh, okay. Yeah, that rings a bell, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably why I was so familiar with the author's name. Portland. Yeah. No, I'm hearing about all that. Crazy what's happening just in general. So just to start off with there's another non-fiction one here, the history of harmonicas from the point of view of some of the performers. So I bought this again. I bought this one in London, I think, actually. Yeah, in Oxfam. Oh no, this one was bought in Brighton, Oxfam, Brighton. And I love the harmonica, so I am intrigued to read this. So that's another one I need to read. So I'm going to go towards these for a second. This one is, I'm going to go through these quite quickly because I think people on the replay might reply to this more. And it's like there's lots of don't know, it's like one big chunk of vintage SF. So I put these aside for Shorty September, and I think I read one Shorty September book. I think I read more than that would apply, but it wasn't really, the other ones weren't deliberately read for Shorty September. They just happened to be short books. So I put these aside because I wanted to get through a bunch of short science fiction vintage stuff, and I just didn't. So that was a bit frustrating. So just really quickly, and then I'll move on to some other things. Got Out of Their Minds by Edgar Rice Burroughs. No, Out of Their Minds, out of Time's Abyss, Out of Their Minds. That is a Farscape episode. It's a great Farscape episode where they swap minds and the actors play around with that a little bit, and they're being other characters. And that's a really funny episode. Out of Their Minds, Out of Time's Abyss, which is a very different thing, right? And then this is Future for Sale, which is a dystopian thing, I think. No, it's a time travel thing, but it's got some strange ideas about the future. Goblin Reservation, Clifford Simak, which I was going to read with. I'm going to read that with Gavin, I think. Earthworks. I need to read Earthworks. Don't read it. Ridiculous. I need to read that damn book. We can build you by Philip K. Dick with a brilliant Abraham Lincoln cover. These covers are going to, even if you're not a science fiction reader, you might enjoy the covers because they're ludicrous. This is one I want to read, No Room for Man, because I'm always interested in overpopulation books because there's too many of us. No Room for Man, Gordon Dixon. That's one I need to read. A. Van Voigt, The Undercover Aliens. That's another one I was going to read but didn't get to it. Another Edgar Rice Burroughs, The Lost Continent, one of those Lost World ones. This is I've shown this in my channel so many times. I haven't read it. Sturgeon's Venus Plus X. What a great cover. No idea what's going on the cover, but you know. Guardians of Time, Paul Anson. I like everything I've read by him so far, which is 2. I've read 2 books by him, but they were really good. So I do like him. This is Space Opera, which is a kind of a music science fiction thing, but I don't think it's like comedy or anything. Although I think it's a little bit light, especially for Jack Vance. I think Jack Vance tends to be quite serious. So there's that. So that's the bunch of vintage science fiction. This is a new science fiction book that I bought. Very excited because I saw Rachel from Shades of Orange review this, and it sounded like a bit of fun. So I wanted to read Space Brooms. So yeah, smell of a new book. Definitely want to read that. I'll go through some other new ones actually. So these are new. So this has been raved about by Greg from another Bibliophile Reads and Olly. So I read this. They said it was literally brilliant. They didn't just say it was good. They said it was brilliant. So I do need to read Titanium Right. Apparently, it's a cross between a detective noir thing and a dystopian kind of setting. So this sounds really intriguing. They said it was really, really good. So I should read that, Titanium Noir. I bought it because they raved about it, and I thought, yeah, let's get it. And then it's just sitting there. So another one I need to read. This is one I read the back of and got really excited. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to these comments again because Margaret just said something I was going to bounce off. So hold on. So Aaron, I think, read The Perks of Being a Wallflower for the whole book club. So Courtney Love had a book club. It's interesting. Come on, phone. Don't be weird today. I want to type out weird noises I make. Don't know what the reference is. He was not masked, so I let him proceed. Don't know what's going on. I'm voting for Scatterbrain. Why we sing and Phil Oaks. Okay, so we got some votes going on now, which is interesting. Thank you for that, Margaret. I do need to read these. Unrelated, but the Fastgate comment made me wonder. Have you watched Babylon 5? I just started it. Aaron, tomorrow I am going to be filming a video which is 10 reasons why I love Babylon 5. I love that show very much. It's one of my favorite all-time shows. And we just started talking about that in the Lost discussion, which is why I thought of doing the video, because one of the Babylon 5 actors features in the show. So I got very excited when they appeared in the show Lost, because it was like, oh my God, that's them. And without giving any spoilers, and I know I love Babylon 5 a lot. I have thought it's an amazing show. If I have a book that's destined for a buddy reader, I put a sticky on it. That's a oh my God, I can't. My brain's gone. A what do we call them? I know. Maybe you just put a bit of sticky tape on it, so I don't forget. External accountability. Yeah, that's a good shout. It's a good reason. Then put a little name in it. Maybe that's a good shout because I do forget. I can't remember what the thing was I was trying to think of. Space Brooms. Yeah, so Space Brooms. I'll read the back because it does sound really good and a bit of fun. So, a wild, vibrant, character-driven romp, Space Brooms combines humor, heart, and action to showcase Johnny Gomez's journey from daydreaming custodian to space-bound adventurer. On board Kilgore Station, Creatures of all kinds spend their days indulging in exotic cuisine and gambling their credit away on their entertainment deck. Everyone except Johnny. Working as a janitor or space broom, Johnny spends his days elbow deep in alien excrement, mourning a life of fortune that he originally set out to find. But Johnny's luck turns around when he stumbles across a small data chit containing deeply confidential and highly coveted information. Johnny then sets off to Earth's moon, Luna, in an effort to sell the chit to the Urbina crime syndicate. It sounds like a Coen Brothers film set in space. But as word spreads of Johnny's discovery, the solar system's most nefarious creatures are soon on his tail. With help from his augmented roommate, a pair of smugglers, and a mysterious and beautiful stranger, Johnny takes on assassins and mobsters as he ventures towards the biggest payout of his life. Sounds like fun. It sounds like a romp, sounds like a mix of different genres, and sounds like my cup of tea. So yeah, that sounds like fun. I need to read more Jack Vance. His Lioness trilogy is one of my favourite fantasy series. Yeah. Nicole's off. Got to jump for dinner. Yeah, thanks for coming on and chatting. I really appreciate it. Bon appetit. Bon appetit. Post-it notes. That's see, you're a genius. Post-it notes with a name and a pose. That's a really good shout. I should do that. Yeah. No, I feel awful. And I nearly forgot who was going to read Dead Dandelion Wine. I forgot that we were going to read East of Eden. There's the Something Wicked As It Becomes, which is a bunch of people. I think Pat's going to read that. Dave's going to read that. I'm not getting there yet because I need to read Small Assassin and The Day It Rained Forever, and then I'll be reading Something Wicked As It Comes for my Ray Bradbury thing. So I've got 2 books in between, but there's a bunch of people reading that. Space Room sounds like it's in the Brown Yet Gang universe. Yeah. Oh, can you imagine if my book influenced someone else? God, that would be exciting. Right. This one, I found it. I looked at it on the shelf. This is in Waterstones. I looked at it and I thought, oh, I'll read the back, and it sounded really cool. So I'll read the back and see if you think it sounds cool. Again, a funny, original, thought-provoking debut. It's wistful and sharp, particularly on what it really means to live. I like that. Set in a 2054 where humans have locked themselves out of the internet and Elon Musk has incinerated the moon. Set My Heart to 5 is the hilarious yet profoundly moving story of one android's emotional awakening. See, I'm there. A moving story of one android's emotional awakening. Unhappy with his programmed job of dentistry and inspired by love of classic movies, Jared sets out on a bold mission to use the power of his burgeoning feelings to forever change the world for him and all his kind. Unfortunately, Jared intends to do this by writing his own movie, and things do not proceed according to plan. A robot wants to change the world by making his own film because he's obsessed with old classic movies. How cool does that sound? See, original stories. I like it. It doesn't sound particularly derivative and sounds awesome and sounds like fun. Sounds funny. This is Bearhead. So Adrian Tchaikovsky's Bearhead. I want to read this because obviously we all love Adrian Tchaikovsky, and Dogs of War is fantastic. It's one of his best books, and this is the next book in the series. I've also got the other one, which is Serpent's Egg, I think it's called. Serpent's Egg and Bee Speaker. That might not be. Is it? I can't quite see them over here. I've definitely got Bee Speaker. So I think there's one. Why do I have the phrase Serpent's Egg in my head? I don't know. But I've got this and I've got Bee Speaker. I can see Bee Speaker there on my Adrian Tchaikovsky shelf. But yeah, so I need to read Bearhead because I haven't read something I didn't like yet. And Annalie Newitz, she wrote this book called The Terraformers. So this is Desiree's life is dedicated to terraforming Sask E. As part of the environmental rescue team, she cares for the planet and its burgeoning ecosystems as her parents did before her. But the bright, clean future they're building comes under threat when Desiree discovers a city full of people that shouldn't exist, hidden inside a massive volcano. As she uncovers more about their past, Desiree begins to question the mission she's devoted her life to and must make a choice that will reverberate through Saskia E's future for generations to come. See, that's quite a good one. I think, Margaret, you don't really read a lot of science fiction, do you? But I imagine the climate science fiction stuff and things like the terraforming stuff, you might like that. And Aaron says he loves the terraforming book but hasn't heard of that one. Yes. I saw this on the shelves and thought, oh, that looks good. And I liked the other one I read by her called Autonomous. I thought that was really good and very modern. Lots of content in the book that's aware of current cultural changes. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this is like. Again, got to read it. Got to read it. Another good one. We've got so many good books here to read. I read Mars, and it was enough for 5 years. That's hard science fiction, though, isn't it? That's very, very scientific. So he did Kim. Is it Kim Stanley Robinson? Why have I got Kim Stanley Robinson in my head? Is it Kim Stanley Robinson? But there was tons of research that they did. So, yeah, it's very, very hard science fiction. I don't know if all of the stuff like that, terraforming stuff, has got that much. I don't know. I'm judging from the other thing I read by Annalie Newitz. I don't think they put as much science in there. I think it's more speculative and less worried about realism. I think it's more about the message, I think. But I don't know. Maybe I'm Kim Stanley Robinson. I think that's what I said, wasn't it? Yeah. Cool. Hold on. Yeah. I've read Mars twice, and I'm still not sure if it's good or not. yeah, really hard. I think he was one of the big proponents of hard science fiction. I'm not into really hard science, but I'll be thinking, oh, it's too much science, man. I don't care enough to learn the science. Third, Mars House by Natasha Pulley by a lot. Natasha Pulley was on your channel, and I've got 2 of her books, The Watchmaker's Something and the something, which was also in that series. I feel less bad. Yeah. This is raved about by everybody. Planet 4 by Emma Newman, and I need to read this again. This is a series of books, but I know this probably finishes in a finite way because I think there was a bit of a gap between this one and the second one. And I remember when the reviews came out, I don't think they said that it was a cliffhanger. So this is a series now, but yeah, I definitely want to read this. This is supposed to be good. Yeah, Filigree Street. Yes, she was. I saw the interview, and she seemed like a really lovely person. And you should do more author interviews, Margaret, because that was awesome. Oh yeah, I read Emma Newman's blog, and it was great fun. But never got around to her books. Ah, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so apparently it's amazing. So, I love promoting new science fiction because there's a whole wave of booktubers who will go on about new science fiction's crap, old science fiction is brilliant, and I've read a fair share of crap old science fiction, so I do think it's roasting the glasses. Genuinely believe that the new stuff is really good, and there's loads of bad old science fiction. So there's lots of good stuff, but there's lots of bad stuff. Even the stuff that sometimes gets called a masterpiece or a classic, some of that I don't think is very good. I didn't like Ringworld. Shoot me. So I've got this one out for Shorty September, and I still haven't read it, but it'd be cool to read it, wouldn't it? Wishful Drinking by Carrie Fisher. I think that would be good to read that. And I've read 2 of her other books, and she's very witty. I think one of her books, I got a little bit fed up of the kind of sarky tone, and it was just a little bit too constantly that tone. So I don't know if I feel like that about that, but it's very short, so I can't imagine I'd get tired of it because I do think she's very witty and very likable. And this is all the Wishful Drinking, I think, is all set during in the Star Wars set, and I think this is the book where she talked about her relationship with Harrison Ford as well, I think, from what I remember. But yeah, there's that. And this, as we just nipped into non-fiction, there's also, oh no, this is fiction, but this is Sandy Toksvig. I went to the theatre 2 days ago and saw a play written by Sandy Toksvig, which was good. It wasn't brilliant, but it was good. We both, me and my wife, thought that there was some inconsistencies in the writing, but it was good. And because it was an amateur production, there were 2 actors that were pretty much carrying the whole thing, and there was a couple of dodgy actors, which you'll always get with. Well, no, you don't always get, but you often get with an amateur production. You get really good actors and people who are just still learning. But it was interesting that it was a Sandy Toksvig script, Sandy Toksvig play. But I really like her as a personality. I don't know if anyone watching this knows. Aaron will know her, but I don't know if anyone else that's watching knows Sandy Toksvig. But she's famous over here. She presents QI. If you watch QI, if you don't watch QI, thoroughly recommend it. Go onto YouTube and watch some QI clips because it's one of the best programs on TV, I think, British TV. And she was the first presenter of. No, she wasn't. She was in the second wave of presenters for the Great British Bake Off. So Mel and Sue presented it first, and when they left, they were taken over by Sandy Toksvig and Noel Fielding. And Noel Fielding's obviously still there. Yeah. I like the British Bake Off, so if that seems a bit weird, if you thinking, Gareth, you don't seem like someone who likes the British Bake Off, but hey, I love biscuits, and it's lovely watching them make biscuits. But yeah, Hitler's Canary is a kind of a comedy, probably farcical comedy, because that's kind of what a plays are like, by Sandy Toksvig. So yes, she's awesome. She's brilliant. I think she's a better presenter of QI than Stephen Fry because she lets it go a little bit more chaotic. Stephen Fry used to try and rein it in. As soon as the comedians started to go off on a tangent and go, yes, and try and bring it back to the subject, whereas Sandy Toksvig suddenly sometimes just laughs and just lets them carry on, which is great. I prefer that. Mark says, I was just watching compilation of QI. Yes. They just made Sandy dissolve into giggles. Yeah, that's what she does. Yeah, and that's great because I think it allows them to carry on. And she's also nicer to Alan because Stephen Fry really played on the fact that Alan was the idiot, but he's not an idiot. It's just a convention on the show that he's the one that's going to do the klaxon stuff. And Sandy didn't really dwell on that much. She was much better at it, I thought. I mean, I do like Stephen Fry. I'm not slagging him off for the sake of it. Yes, Aaron, Bake Off is awesome, isn't it? And QI. There we go. Yeah, we love QI. It's brilliant. My 2 favourite shows on British TV. Yeah, my 2 favourite shows are QI and Taskmaster. If you get a chance to watch Taskmaster, then yes, definitely. There's some pretty wild ones with Stephen, I found. With Phil Jupiters, comedian who put on a Geordie accent, automatic cheerer upper, Geordie accent. Yeah, I think that's Phil Jupiters. And Aaron has danced with Alan Davies in a pub. There we go. 1 minute 33 in. That's the best moment in this show. Aaron has danced with Alan Davies. That's so cool. And I tell my wife, she really likes Alan Davies. She used to want to see him live. I don't think she has seen him live, but she wanted to. Yeah, that's cool. I bet he's a nice guy. I never got to see his stand-up. But yeah, Alan Davies. You danced with Alan Davies in a pub. That is brilliant. What? Brilliant. Okay, so this is great because, I'm talking about books I need to read. And then we're learning about Aaron and his dancing days when he used to dance with celebrities. We accidentally, we saw God, what's his name? Okay, Aaron, help me out. You got the 2 captains of 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. You've got John Thingy, the serious one, and you've got Glasses, friend of Bill Bailey. What's his name? We saw him at a Prince concert, and we were all excited about the fact that he was there near us. Sean Locke, that's it, Sean Locke. Yeah, Sean Locke. Sadly, not with us anymore. He died, didn't he, a couple of years ago? But my daughter Jess ran up to him and had a little chat with him, which was lovely. She went up to him and sort of went, just, I don't think she said, "Are you Sean Locke?" Because that's obviously what celebrities get. But she went up and just started talking to him about Prince and had a little chinwag, which is cool, isn't it? Yeah, Jimmy Carr could have been the other one, but it wasn't Jimmy Carr. Although saying that, I think he might have been there. I think we saw him as well. But Sean Locke was kind of in a way that we could talk to him. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Aaron's the man with the knowledge. My brain's getting a bit fuzzy at the moment, which is weird. It's not because it's 1:30 in the morning. It's because my brains are getting fuzzy. I'm actually very, very awake, which is cool. But I've had a lovely day actually today. But anyway, Walter Tevis, Mockingbird. I've heard so much about this book. This is a library copy again. Look. So it's a copy that I've renewed a bunch of times. I might have to give this back at some point. But I do want to read it, man. I might have to read this soon because of the fact I've renewed it a bunch of times. But this is supposed to be really good. I'm going to read this. I'll read the back so you guys can see what it's like. In a dying world where humans are drugged and lulled by electronic bliss, where there is no art, no literature, and there are no children, where some would rather burn themselves alive than endure, Spofforth is the most perfect machine ever created. But his only desire is the impossible, to cease to be. Yet there is hope in this bleak, depressing time. Yeah, sounds depressing. Hope in the passion and joy that a man and a woman discover in love and in books. Hope for the future. Hope even for Spofforth. Wow. So massively conceptual book there. And Aaron says it's amazing. I've heard that this is amazing. So I do need to read this. And yet, 15 Stories High, Sean Locke series. Yes, it was brilliant. Co-written by Bill Bailey, I think. 1980. Is that when this came out? Yes, came out in 1980. It's a very interesting man, Walter Tevis, isn't he? Because he wrote The Hustler, and he wrote The Man Who Fell to Earth, and The Queen's Gambit, and The Colour of Money. So, The Hustler I've got up there on the top shelf. The Hustler's up there. And The Man Who Fell to Earth is over there. And I'm buddy reading The Man Who Fell to Earth with Alan at some point. Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics. But this is one I need to read. So, yeah, Aaron's just endorsed it. He died quite soon after Mockingbird. He was not a happy chap. How did he die? Did he die? It wasn't suicide or something, was it? Yeah, 84 he died. So, yeah, not that long after this came out. Yeah, I'm curious. But yeah, it's an interesting set of books. He's written like those really classic books, but they're quite different as well, aren't they? So yeah, he's not a one-hit wonder, is he? He's a 5-hit wonder. Okay, he's an alcoholic. Okay, right, yeah. I didn't drink alcohol until I was in my 30s. Didn't drink any alcohol until I was in my 30s, and that's all because of stuff I've already talked about on the channel with my wonderful father. In December, I'm going to be reading West of Eden, and I'm going to be inviting other people to read it with me. I would like to have a group session, a group read of West of Eden. This is a book that basically explores a hypothesis, if that's the right word, of the dinosaurs not being killed off and they don't go extinct and they evolve, and it's like a developed dinosaur civilization and what that really means for the planet and for humans. I assume it's with humans as well. I think there's some humanoid, there's some old humanoid characters in it. West of Eden sounds really interesting, and it's very acclaimed. People do love this book. There's a series of books. I've got Winter in Eden as well, and there's another one as well. There's 3. Return to Eden, maybe. But yeah, I do want to read this with a bunch of people. So that's definitely on my TBR for December. So that is going to happen. Definitely. That's going to be a focus for December. So there is that. And I think I'm going to cover a couple more. This is one that Alex Unabridged loves this author. He wrote a book called The Passage, which I have not read, but Alex Unabridged says that The Passage is amazing, and is Justin Cronin, and The Ferryman is a more recent one that he's written that looked amazing. Look at this amazing cover. How amazing is that cover? I love it. I absolutely love it. Striking. I think that cover is striking. So, the islands of Prospera lie in a vast ocean, in splendid isolation from the rest of humanity, or whatever remains of it. Surrounded by sun and sea and stars, their world is perfect, but every paradise comes at a price. When the truth behind their paradise is revealed, it will end a way of life and start a revolution that will change the course of humanity itself. And it will all begin with one person hearing these simple words: the world is not the world. And Andy Weir says, a mind-bending novel full of big ideas and a roller coaster's worth of twists and turns. And then Blake Crouch, who I rate very highly, says, all of my sky-high expectations were smashed. Fiction doesn't get better than this. The Ferryman. I ought to read this because clearly it's probably quite stunning. So, and then a couple more actually, and then we'll look at some. So someone's just asked me about Diane Keaton, so I will talk about that in a second. Waypoint Gang, I've had this for so long. I bought this just because of Goodreads. So I was looking for interesting science fiction books I'd never seen before. And this, I've never seen this sold anywhere. I bought this on eBay after reading about it on Goodreads. So I've never seen this sold. So this is probably quite an unusual book. And Waypoint Kangaroo just sounded really crazy. So where's the plot? Where's the plot, mate? Meet Kangaroo. He's a superpowered secret agent who's about to face his toughest mission yet, his vacation. Kangaroo isn't your typical spy. Sure, he has extensive agency training, access to bleeding edge technology, and a ready supply of quips and retorts. But what sets him apart is the pocket, a portal that opens into an empty, seemingly infinite parallel universe. Kangaroo is the only person in the world who can use the pocket, and he's pretty sure his agency keeps him around only to exploit their superpower for their own purposes. After he bungles yet another mission, Kangaroo gets sent away on a mandatory vacation, and while he tries to make the most of his exile aboard an interplanetary cruise to Mars, 2 passengers are found dead, and Kangaroo risks blowing his cover to investigate. However, it turns out he's not the only spy on the ship, and he's just started to realize that there's a massive conspiracy to unravel. If you can read it, it goes more mental. But this is interesting, isn't it? Because obviously now multi-dimensional travel seems to be a bit popular at the moment. But this came out in 2016. Yeah, 2016. So that was before that sort of stuff was happening, really. So, Curtis Chen, Waypoint Kangaroo. Definitely want to read that. It looks like completely mad and really funny and interesting and enjoyable. And then this last one was one that I bought on eBay. Oh, I was going to tell you about something else. I'll tell you about it in a sec. I'll put that there. This is one, I bought this on eBay because of a live stream that we did where we talked about, oh my God, what were we talking about? We were talking about science fiction for some reason. What was that? Why did we do that? But it was Chris from Liminal Spaces, and it was Richard from Vintage SF, and it was Pat from Book Chat with Pat. And I think it was Gavin from Genre Books and probably Dave as well. Why did we all get together? Was it the end of Rocket Summer? It might have been the end of Rocket Summer. And anyway, lots of people were talking about Bob Shaw, and this particular book came up, as a book that's really, really interesting and different, and like the one of the best things that Bob Shaw wrote. And I've got other books by Bob Shaw that I've never read, but I got this on eBay because everyone said it was amazing. It's a lovely copy that's been packaged really nice, and no doubt once I start reading it, I'll get it out of the package, get rid of the package, and it'll get ruined. But but yeah, Night Walk by Bob Shaw was definitely talked about as something I should read, and really quite different and fresh and exciting. So there's that one as well. I'm gonna put that there for a minute. Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna try and I'll get to this last thing, and let's get to the comments for a second because, yeah. So Margaret said, "Now my votes are Scatterbrain, Why We Sing, and Space Brooms for Happiness." Yes. Okay. I think what I'm going to do to legitimize this, I'm going to put the people's suggestions aside as my actual TBR. So Scatterbrain, Why We Sing, and Space Brooms, I'm going to put downstairs as Margaret's suggestions, and they're going to be there for me to read when I'm not reading an event thing. So when I finish my occult detective thing, I'll read one of those, or maybe two of those. Could be those two. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. Max Libris, hello. What's your favourite Diane Keaton movie? My favourite one, and my video I've just put up, which has probably been up for a little while, I said my favourite performance by her is what is Love and Death. I think she's so funny in Love and Death. So I think Love and Death is my favourite performance by her. But my favourite film that she's in is Play It Again, Sam. I think Play It Again, Sam is just absolutely amazing, and it's so quotable, and it really resonated me with at the time as well. I was just at the start of my taking relationships seriously as a teenager thing when I watched it, and I ended up being in a triangle. I won't go too much into it because I ended up going down a really dark road from this triangle, but yeah, the film really resonated with me. Play It Again, Sam, and I just think it's brilliantly written, and she's fantastic in it. So yeah, that's my favorite one as a film, but my favorite performance by her is Love and Death. I think she's really funny in that, and it is a great film anyway. Annie Hall is amazing, so there's no point in ignoring Annie Hall because Annie Hall is amazing, and she did some great stuff later on, obviously separate from Woody Allen, but yeah, Annie Hall was written for her, and it was like she just had to be herself, and you know, but yeah, Play It Again, Sam is my favorite film that she's in, and Love and Death is my favorite performance that she's done. Aaron says Play It Again, Sam as well. Yeah, such a brilliant film. I love the rain. It washes memories of the sidewalks of life. Kurt, you know Curtis Chen? That's awesome. That's amazing because I didn't expect anyone to. If I ever read this and then reviewed it, I expected it would get like 4 views because it would be like, "Who's that? Who gives a toss about that?" I see him at Indie Author Fairs. Oh wow, oh that's cool. Well, tell him I gave him a shout out, and that might make his day. What you mean, Gareth? Gareth Howells in the UK gave me a shout out. Oh my god, I am so chuffed. He's that guy in Bemis. I forgot about Love and Death. Yeah, it's so good, isn't it? But objectivity is subjective. Yeah, but subjectivity is objective. The Godfather is quite good. Well, yeah, The Godfather is a great film. Let's face it. And she's in Godfather 2, which is even better, isn't it? But yeah, she's in great films. I haven't seen The First Wives Club, and I kind of ignored that in my video about her because I hadn't seen it. I feel bad because that was a big film for her. But she was just amazing. And I didn't look up because I wanted to get it out, and I wanted to be sincere. So I only said the things that I knew about her. So I didn't look anything up. So I don't know. She may have done loads and loads of like charity work and things that you could have praised her for doing, the more sort of philanthropical stuff. But I didn't look any of that up, so I might have done her a disservice. But I thought she was amazing, and I was very upset. So just one last comment about these books. If there's more chat, I'll carry on chatting. But you may know that I collect Harlan Ellison books. A very divisive writer, but someone I've been collecting since I was a kid. And some of his books are really, really rare and really expensive. And this one is really rare, and it's very expensive. I only ever saw this book for like between 60 quid and over 100 quid and beyond. And then when I saw this relatively cheap, I got very excited and I thought, oh my God, I've got to get this. So this is Web of the City. And this is some old stuff he wrote in the 50s when he was a teenager. And he's even done an introduction where he says, please be kind, because I was young when I wrote it. So I definitely want to read this because I find it kind of intriguing. That is me trying to take off the sticker that was there, because this was an ex-library copy, and I managed to get most of it off. And I'd rather be able to see what it says rather than have all this crap that was on there. So I managed to get that stuff off, but I couldn't get that off without damaging the cover, which is a bit of a shame. But Web of the City, written as a young Harlan Ellison, and this was, I think he wrote this when he was in gangs, and it's about gang life. So yeah, that was a really great find to have. So I do want to read that as well. And yeah, that would be a nice way to conclude that whole cavalcade of books that I want to read. There's tons of them. There's a Jim Butcher book there. There's loads of Jim Butcher books everywhere. I was going to look more in these, I suppose, wouldn't I? See Razzmatazz. That's going to be very funny. We've got that, which everyone's raving about. Look at that. Everyone's going to make a comment now. I'll put that one there. See, that one's there to read. We've got more S.A. Cosby. So many stuff I haven't read. My Heart is a Chainsaw. I haven't read that yet. Oh, man. See, look, I bought this, all excited thing. I need to read this. It might end up being my favourite time travel story. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Time and Again. Jack Finney. There's so many, all these shelves. I wanted to read the Pine series again from Blake Crouch. I haven't read them. Well, I have read them, but I haven't read them for a while. I wanted to reread them. There's Abandoned by Blake Crouch, which apparently the early ones aren't as good. There's the crime one that's set during the Black Death. Karen Maitland. Tell me if I should read that. There's so many. This one I got because, did I get this secondhand? Yeah, I found it and I had to get it because Alex from Alex on the Bridge said this changed his life. This changed his life. So the Minotaur takes a cigarette break. This helped him with developing a sense of his own identity. And I find that intriguing. I'd like to read this to know how Stephen Sherrill has done that in the book. So, that's another one. There's loads. And that's another one that was raved about on BookTube when it came out. And I've had this for a while. I bought this in London going, oh, grab that because everyone said it was great. Fire Rush. It's too many books. I got this one because Olly talked about it. It looks really cool. I'm starting to worry about this big black box of doom. He described it and it sounded really fun. And then when I read the back, shall I read the back? Outside Los Angeles, a driver pulls up to find a young woman sitting on a large black box. She offers him $200,000 cash to transport her and that box across the country to Washington, D.C. But there are rules. He cannot look inside the box. He cannot ask questions. He cannot tell anyone. They must leave immediately, and he must leave all trackable devices behind. As these eccentric misfits hit the road, rumors spread on social media that the box is part of a carefully orchestrated terror attack intended to plunge the USA into civil war. The truth promises to be even stranger and may change how you see the world. So yeah, it sounds brilliant. another one I need to read. So I've got a sea of books in front of me. That's another one. Just these shelves just full of books need to read. And by the way, these are double-breasted shelves, so you know a whole load of stuff behind it. Can you see that? And there's more books I haven't read. Yeah, Mexican Gothic is back there. So many books I haven't read. This one, Cunning Folk, Adam Neville. Apparently that's amazing. A kind of folk horror book. I'm sure Margaret's advice is still the same. But let's go back to these for a minute. Never Seen Love and Death. Available on Hoopla streaming on Blu-ray, which is a no. May have to try Hoopla now. It's a very funny film. Cavalcade. Yes, the Cavalcade. It's like a slapstick film about Russian literature. It's amazing. Hey, Brandy. Hiya. Nice to speak to you via this thing, live stream. Hope you're okay. I think you may have. Tell me if I've replied to your last message. I can't remember. But hopefully I have. Is it as wild as Naked Gun? It's a different kind of humor, really, to Naked Gun. I mean, it's Woody Allen, so he's got a very specific style. His early films have a specific style. Streaming is not working. It's Woody Allen. It's Woody Allen. Most of her first 10 years were Woody Allen, weren't they? Because obviously they were a couple in those days. Oh, Gareth. I was a huge Woody Allen fan. I have to say it. There's no point in pretending. If you're going to talk about Diane Keaton, big load of her films come from that era. Yeah, so here's a James Baldwin book here as well. Go Tell It on the Mountain. So many things that I need to read. Another James Baldwin book, Another Country. This is a banned book. This was going to be the first James Baldwin book. No, the second one I read after reading Giovanni's Room. I haven't read this yet. It's very new. I think I bought it new. There's a Brandon Sanderson one there. I'm not going to get to Brandon Sanderson until I read all these other ones. But there's so many. But that's the thing, you see. This bookcase, all these bookshelves, most of them are things I need to read, which is why I thought it'd be fun to go through all these. And that was just me dipping into that. Obviously, most of this live stream have been other things that have been in other places in the house. So yeah, some stuff from over there. But I've still got loads of stuff over there. It's a problem, isn't it? So Brandy votes for I Who Have Never Known Men, which is there. Lots of people rave about this. This was 3 people's choice in that video I did last year at Christmas when I asked people to say their favourite books of the year, which I'd like to do again at the end of this year. So look out for a message from me asking what your favourite book of the year was. But yeah, 3 people chose this. I think Aaron was one of them. I think. And Brandy says, because I have that one. Would you want to buddy read it? We can buddy read it if you like. I don't know much about it. I think it's a dystopian thing, isn't it? Yeah. Deep underground, 39 women live imprisoned in a cage. Watched over by guards, these women have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time, and only vague recollections of their lives before. As the burn of electric light merges day into night and numberless years pass, a young girl, the 40th prisoner, sits alone and outcast in the corner. Soon she will show herself to be the key to the others' escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them above. Yeah, this does sound pretty awesome. So that's a yes. Does anyone else want to join in? That'd be cool. As Margaret's left, I hope Margaret's still here. I hope she wasn't offended that I talked about Woody Allen, because we were talking about Diane Keaton. It's really hard to talk about Diane Keaton without talking about him. I deliberately don't talk about him on the channel because it might cause offence. So I'm hoping Margaret's still there. It'd be a shame if she left for that reason. Oh, Brandy, you may have missed the fact I was going on about this for a while. So this is being read in December, and as you'll hear, I thought I'd pick it up again and show the camera this again, because this is going to be read in December, and I'm going to try and get a few people to read it with me, hopefully. So there we are. See, there's that as well. The more I look, the more I find. This is why I shouldn't be buying books, you know. Broken Sword, Pal Anderson's fantasy classic. The best book ever. There you go. So this is and I'll put these two things together. That comment and this book. This is what Brandy thinks. She thinks this is the best book ever. It's her favorite book. So, and I'm a big Harry Harrison fan. I just haven't read that one. You can never have too many books. Well, you can. Oops. You can never have too many books. It's all about how much room you've got. Because if I had the basement that Greg's got, then I'd buy even more books. But I haven't got place at the houses, especially as my wife, who spends most of her evenings over there, she hates the sight of books. So it's not really very fair. I always feel a bit bad that she would rather there weren't books around. But where am I going to put them? So yeah, that's the thing. You can't have too many books, but you can have too little space, which is what is happening with me now. I think Margaret might have gone. There's still a few people in. So yeah, I think that covers a lot of what I need to read. But if I keep looking, there'll be more. But I'm not going to keep looking because we're 2 hours in, and I've covered loads and loads of books. I've got some ideas from Margaret, and if you want to suggest what I should read from what I've put up, I started off with a bunch of non-fiction. Then I covered some crime, some literary fiction, a whole bunch of sci-fi stuff, some new books that come out. Oh my God, that shouldn't be there. Yeah. Oh, there we go. She's still here. That's good. That makes me feel a bit better. I don't have that one, so I'm not trying to give myself books to read that I don't own. Which one's that? Oh, as in what? Oh, West of Eden, probably. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's what I should be doing. What have you got? Some pretty fabrics dropped down in front of the shelves. Yeah, we've talked about that. And I don't know, because what I feel like it's a better compromise to not have as many, but still have them on display, because I like having them on display. So it seems like a kind of a compromise. We've divided the room in half, so her side is that side, my side is this side. So we've kind of done that. So that feels like a fair compromise. But I've got most of my books down here. I've got a load of them up in the loft, and I've got some downstairs. So I need to thin out the ones downstairs, thin out the ones in the loft, because the ceiling bows a little bit. So I need to figure that out. And just basically, I don't need to have. I've got a ridiculous amount of books, so I need to thin them out. If I kept my favorite books, it wouldn't be that much. It's the fact I've got so much to read. I've got so much I haven't read. That's what makes my collection so big, really. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which could happen. It could happen. We've been in this house for 27 years. So that's 27 years of pressure on the ceiling. Could happen any day. Can you imagine if it happened live? That'd be great TV, wouldn't it? Every one in my house is bookcases. Yeah, I like that. See, I'd love that. I'd love that. Even in my kitchen. Wow. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. That's the dream situation. I love it. I know I would genuinely really like that. But yeah, there is talk of me having the spare room. I don't know if this will happen, because genuinely argue for the idea that we should both have the spare room, but she's talked about me having the spare room and making it into a kind of a library. So, and then I could put my musical instruments in there as well, because my bouzouki and octave mandolin and oud are all over there, kind of rammed against the books as well. So if I had a bigger space, then that wouldn't be spared. I've got some of my guitars and my bass are at work, you know, and I should really bring them home. But yeah, so I've got lots of instruments as well. So if I did have that room, that would be quite useful for that as well. I've got, what have I got? 1, 2, 3 guitars, a bass, and all those other things I mentioned. Yes, so cool. It's very nice that you've managed to nip in, Brandy, to watch this. Appreciate it. Has anyone been here for a while? Because Margaret's given me some ideas about what to concentrate on. So that would be, well, Space Brooms is one of them, but also the Scatterbrain about ADHD, which is down there on the bottom of that pile. And also, did you, if Margaret, if you wanted to read that Africa, the way we devalued Africa, is it called devalued? No, I wouldn't call it devalued. I can't remember what the title was, but the way we affected Africa in a negative way. If you wanted to read that together, we could do that. But yeah, if anyone that's been here a while has got any other suggestions, that would be cool. You know, do I read the biography of Muddy Waters? See, I shouldn't put this here. I should put this up there. My Kate Bush book is here. Look, random mention of Kate Bush. So if Greg, you're watching this, Ghost Riders in the Sky, Greg, then you enjoy the fact that Kate's made an appearance. This is a really lovely book of photographs of Kate from her brother. But I used this for a video and it's just sat there. I need to put it over there, protected, in a place where no one can find it. Yeah, what's Aaron's votes? That's a good shout. Come on, Aaron, what do you think? What should I read? You've been here all day. Oh, you don't have that one. Oh, which one was it you... Oh, it was one you were looking for. Oh, maybe you got it on your list to get eventually. So, yeah, apologies. I misunderstood. Binti on your shelf. Yes. I'm only going to vote for books I have and could read with you. Well, I've read Binti. I do want to reread it, so I'm not going to get rid of it because I want to reread it. But it is one I have read. It's not a priority for that reason. I tell you what I haven't read. Again, I could go on forever, couldn't I? But I haven't read this, Chain Gang All Stars. Have you read this, Margaret? Anana Kwame Ajay Brenya's kind of dystopian it's kind of a, oh my god, my brain is frazzled. But anyway, it's a book that depicts a futuristic thing where the where black prisoners are competing for the entertainment of white people. So yeah, very important book probably, but I haven't read it, so I don't know. Yeah, I heard great things. Yeah, a lot of people have praised it. Okay, fair enough. I think some people, it's funny actually, because when it first came out, it was seen to be universal praise, and lately some people have criticized it either for being too, as they say, on the nose, which I think is a terrible criticism, because sometimes you need to be that blunt, and also it's just a terrible phrase, on the nose. Usually that means people that would rather avoid the politics of something anyway. And too close for comfort. Yeah, well, exactly. See, this was written before Trump. So when did this come out? Well, it's signed, which is cool, isn't it? I don't even remember when and how I got this. I think I got it. I either got it from Waterstones or Forbidden Planet when it came out, I think. Because I'd read his previous book, Friday Black. Yeah, Friday Black, which is really good. Came out in 2023. So yeah, this could be a comment on the Trump era, to be fair. So yeah, I haven't read that either. So that's another thing that could be on the. So I know I said I was going to stop, but I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? And see, I want to read that as well. This is another one of the banned books. One of the ones I've got as a banned book. Last Days at Brooklyn. I haven't read this yet because I think it's going to be quite depressing, but I do want to read it. And I really liked the film. The film is really depressing, and some of it's horrible. And I don't know if anyone's seen the film. Has anyone in the chat seen the film? I think some of it's really difficult to watch because it's so horrible. But the book is obviously quite acclaimed. It's seen as a classic, isn't it? But it's also banned in some libraries and schools in America, as a lot of things are. So I'll put that there for a minute. Oh yes. See this. I'll just talk about these two. There's so many. I don't normally just like dissect my shelves like this, so it's kind of fun in that way. Never heard of this one. Never heard of what was I just talking about? Last Days of Brooklyn. Never heard of that one. Oh, it's a when did the film come out? I think the film came out in the 90s, maybe. But yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll read it out because it's like an acclaimed classic. Last Days at Brooklyn is a raw depiction of life amongst New York's junkies, hustlers, drag queens, and prostitutes. An unforgettable cast of characters inhabits the housing projects, bars, and streets of Brooklyn. Georgette, a hopelessly romantic and tormented transvestite. Vinny, a disaffected and volatile youth who's never been on the right side of the law. Shalala, who can find no escape from her loveless existence. Harry, a power-hungry strike leader with a fatal secret. Living on the edge, always walking on the wild side. Their alienation and aggression mask a desperate, deep human need for affection and kinship. Banned in Britain on first publication in 1984, Last Exit to Brooklyn brought its ex-Marine, drug addict author instant notoriety. You don't hear that phrase very often, banned in Britain. Its truthfulness stunned a generation and continues to shock to this day. So, yeah, I was a teen in the 90s. So was I. I would have been, oh no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I was in my 20s. Yeah, so I was a teen so yeah, you're probably 10 years younger than me. I was a teen in the 80s. I grew up in the 80s, I would say, because it was like that decade was when I became a proper person. So I was young, I was very, very young in the 70s, and then I was a teenager through the 80s. The MOT I knew of Brooklyn, the was from the Newsies musical movie and Rent. The MOT I knew of Brooklyn. Is that right? Am I reading that right? Oh, the most I knew of Brooklyn was from the Newsies musical movie and Rent. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn's been. I remember like things like Lords of Flatbush was an early Sylvester Stallone film that was set in Brooklyn, and there are certain films and TV stuff that's set in Brooklyn. It comes up now and again, so you get this impression of Brooklyn, don't you? But yeah, that's quite a powerful film. It's a very depressing film, and you can tell from what I read out that it's not a very happy story. So yeah. So Brandy's son was born in 1992. Yeah, my first child, not a child anymore. My daughter, she was born in 95. So yeah, she's 30 now and doing very well. She's teaching at my college. I don't know if I've said that before, but she's really, really good. And she's a lot of other teachers keep telling me how brilliant she is. which is really good. I'm very proud of her. Yeah. So there's that, and then I just picked out this as well. Well, these two. So this is a science fiction one that I had for a while, but I've noticed that recently Olly's been praising this as well. So I think it's it's another kind of future world that someone's kind of dealing with oppression and all that sort of stuff. Science fiction is good, but that sort of thing. But then there's this as well, which is a kind of a history of the Daily Show, which the Daily Show is like a medicine for all the crap that's happening at the moment. I feel. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I feel like that. And this is like done in a very quick, readable thing. It's the sort of thing you could stick this book in your toilet and then people could read it while they're on the toilet. One of those. But is that a thing in America? We have sometimes you go around someone's house and they've got a bunch of books by the toilet. I haven't got that in my toilet, but it's that kind of book. You can dip into it because it's these little bits. But anyway, the format is clearly quite inviting. You nip into it and go back out again. So the Daily Show, I love the Daily Show, and Jon Stewart in particular is just so brilliant. And he's a very clever man, and he's needed so much. And when he was off the Daily Show, he was doing some really good things as well. And he needs to be out there doing this thing. That was probably a comment about Jess, my daughter. Yeah, thank you. I was just asking a friend which late show host she preferred, and we agreed the ones who had trained at the Daily Show were the best. Yeah, absolutely. So is that a about the Daily Show? You're not a fan, or is the a it's very difficult to ascertain what kind of it is. Is it a positive or a negative it's a very one-sided conversation. I get that. Let me know what kind of it is. Oh, I hit send by mistake. I have no books in my bathroom. Yeah, no, I don't either. But there's sometimes you go to someone's house and it's really cool. And sometimes they're like books with cartoons in it, so you can just quickly have a little giggle. Sometimes with jokes in it. Sometimes they're like there's just things you can nip into. I suppose there's not going to be a full novel in there because you're not going to be able to read a novel on the toilet. But yeah. Oh, hold on. Where are the voice memos? We did growing up. Now it's crossword puzzles at my mum's. Yeah, crossword puzzles you can do. So there is some kind of reference there to that kind of thing. I do think it's funny. There's one particular house that I go in sometimes. It's some friends that we met because they were fans of the band, and then we became friends. And they've got a great selection of books in their toilet. Just put it out there. Their toilet is a great little tiny library. But yeah. Oh my God, look. This is the one to end with. I still haven't read that. I still haven't read this. I put this in a Hall of Shame video about 3 years ago, I think. And I really, really need to read this. I absolutely love the film. I saw it on stage in London with Christian Slater doing the main part that Jack Nicholson played in the film. Christian Slater played it on stage. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Mackenzie Crook played Billy. It was so good. It was a fantastic performance. And I've seen the film so many times. I really love this film. So, I really need to read this book. And talking about my daughter Jess, she studied this book and she used this for her A-level project when she compared this to, what did she compare it to? She compared it to, I can't remember. She did a book comparison. I can't remember what the other one was. Yeah. He was so good. And it's funny because he was known for doing a Jack Nicholson impression, but he didn't do a Jack Nicholson impression. He did it his own way. It was really cool. He did a really good version of this. Mike, what's his character's name again? McMurphy, in it. Yeah, he played that character, and I think the whole thing is interesting actually because the film was produced by Michael Douglas, and his flatmate at the time was Danny DeVito, which is why Danny DeVito is in the film. But he produced it, but it was originally put on stage by Kirk Douglas, his dad, and Kirk Douglas played McMurphy on stage. And then by the time they got the film rights and they were getting the film going, he felt like he was too old to play him, which is why Michael Douglas looked for someone else. And then that's why they found Jack Nicholson. I think it's really interesting because I'd love to see Kirk Douglas do this because I love Kirk Douglas as an actor. I think he's amazing, amazing man, amazing actor. Yeah, and Christian Slater did a brilliant job. He was absolutely brilliant. It was such a special thing. I think it's my favourite thing I've ever seen in the theatre. And Brandy says he's gorgeous as well. So that's pretty cool. So if you're watching this, Christian Slater, you've still got it. If Christian Slater's watching this, you did a great job playing McMurphy in London, mate. So, and thanks for watching my channel if you're watching this. And yeah, well done for everything you're doing. And well done for Mr. Robot. Is he called Mr. Robot? That was a great series. But anyway, yeah, I need to read that, don't I? That's what I'm going to end on. That's what I'm going to end on. I love chatting to Margaret and Brandy and all the quiet people. I haven't got this on anywhere else, so I've definitely got other people watching this. Brandy says, if Christian Slater, or can I call you Christian now? I've mentioned you a few times. It seems weird to use both names. Christian, if you're watching this, Brandy's single and she's lovely and she will make you a lovely companion at home. You'd love living with her. She's a lovely person. So if you want to get in touch with her, let me know. And I'll be very happy to be a go-between between you and Brandy. And again, thank you for watching my channel because I'm quite honoured that you're watching the channel. And I'm sure you have better things to do. You know, I'm sure you're a very busy man. Although I suppose your work has slowed down a bit, so maybe you're not quite as busy as you used to be. You know, I don't want to offend you, mate, but that's probably true. So maybe you're watching a lot of BookTube now. I don't know. Your best work's still ahead of you, so please don't find that insulting because I can't wait to see what you do next, Christian. You're a fantastic artist and great actor. Please don't be offended by what I just said. Exactly. If any other famous actors are watching this on the replay or even in the chat now, there's 5 other people. I don't know who they are. If there's, please say hello and I'll be honored. Like I said, was this on this chat? I can't remember when I said this, but there was, no, it was in this chat because MJ made the point about Dua Lipa now interviews famous authors on her channel, and I said Anne-Marie's got a book out and maybe she watches BookTube, maybe Anne-Marie's watching this, maybe Dua Lipa's watching this. If Dua Lipa's watching this, that would be kind of mad. So yeah, I totally saw her in a different light when I saw her interviewing Percival Everett. That was great. But I am kind of waffling now, so but I have really enjoyed this. It's been great, and I've really appreciated the feedback. And Margaret's been an original viewer. If there's any original viewers, please say something. Say hi, hello. I've been watching all day. And Brandy, has been so brilliant seeing you come up. And I need my screen to be bigger. What does that look like now? That looks like donuts. Is that donuts? They're not donuts, are they? Is that a hand? Is it like a baseball? Are there waffles? Yeah. See, I'm quite hungry. I haven't eaten, and it's 2:20. I have eaten. but I haven't eaten for hours. It's 2. So yeah, no, I want waffles now. I've got some cheese scones that my wife made that I can eat, so that's pretty cool. And yes, I say scones. If you say scones, then I think that's what posh people do. So scone is the correct way, and scone is if you live in some massive manor somewhere. Um, so, and yes, I think I need to make an egg sandwich. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think 3 o'clock is the egg sandwich time. Fried egg sandwich, fry a couple of eggs, butter some bread, stick an egg in each of the sets of 2 bread. You got yourself a good, and then salt and pepper. Got yourself a fantastic egg sandwich. Is that a biscuit? What, a waffle or a scone? A scone is not a biscuit. A scone is like a nice tasting version of your southern biscuits. So when I had a biscuit in America, the thing they call a biscuit, it was like a really off tasting scone. That's what a scone is. It's like a really nice version of your biscuit. So they're hard to describe to Americans, yeah, because you wouldn't want to slag off your own biscuits. I get that, but that's the best way to describe it. It's like a better tasting biscuit. They're just different creatures. Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can call your biscuits a creature says quite a lot, I think, because God knows what they are. Very strange, and it's an insult to the word, isn't it? Obviously, need a British scone. Yeah, cheese scones. It's great. It's really nice actually. I wasn't sure what I'd think because I'd normally have it. I wouldn't have a cheese scone necessarily. I just have a scone. But my wife is a brilliant baker and a brilliant cook. She's an amazing baker. She used to make cakes for occasions and then get paid for it and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't necessarily professional, so like semi-professional, and she stopped doing it because it was crazy because it cost quite a lot to make a cake, and people just thought it was like really cheap, and they wouldn't want to give her money, or they wouldn't want to give her a lot of money. So she stopped doing it, and she used to make just random bakery stuff. She made the cheese scones at her work. She works in a kitchen in a school, so she just brought a few back. Yeah, scones are lovely. You didn't pronounce the stone of scone. Stone of scone. Stone of scone. I'm not going to say scone. I've never say. I mean, there's a joke that obviously it's a scone, and then you eat it, and then it's scone, and then it's scone. But you just say scone, because it sounds posh to say scone, doesn't it? It's just like saying water and bottle, isn't it? You don't say that. You say bottle and water. You don't go bottle and water. So yeah, the main point of this entire live stream is that my wife is fantastic at baking cakes. I think the one comes out Scoon. I think that one comes out Scoon, meaning the place where the Scots crown their king. Well, Scots might say Scoon, but that's their accent, isn't it? Scone, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. And these cheese scones are quite small as well, so literally you go and it's gone. So there we are. So I still don't know who these other people are. There's 10 people watching now. Wow, it's gone up. I was going to close the show. If you are here watching and you feel okay about saying hello, then please say hello and let's share the moment. Let me know who you are. That'd be great. Because I know Margaret's here, and Margaret is amazing. And if you don't know Margaret's channel, I'm going to advertise your channel, Margaret, because it's so brilliant. Margaret does all her videos as live streams, which is very clever because it cuts down all the editing, and they're always brilliant. And she bounces off other people talking all the time, and she's got this little community that watches her live streams. Is brilliant. So tune into Margaret's live streams. Brandy doesn't do as many videos, but she's awesome. And Watch her channel, have a look at what she's been doing. Margaret says hi to you guys, being very quiet. There's 9 of you now. See, like, so there was 10, and I said, come on, say hello. And then one of you went, what? If he's going to make me say hello, I'm off. So I'm sorry that I scared someone off. I don't want to do that. You know, this should be a happy, safe place. I'm a lazy booktuber. Lazy is a strong word. You're a busy booktuber. I think that's better because I'm busy as well, but I talk absolute nonsense. Half time on my college football game. I think you've only just arrived. Hi, mate. So Medium John Silver is one of my most regular commenters. How do you say that? Commenters. And you're one of the ones that talk about the Twilight Zone, which is lovely. I was saying on the video I did recently about it was like a response video to everyone going on about why they quit YouTube and all that. I said that, you know, there's a small group of people who regularly comment on the Twilight Zone videos, and I very much appreciate that, and you're one of them, so I appreciate that loads. And I'm going to be doing. I won't be putting it on the channel yet, but I'm going to film very soon a video review of the Twilight Zone movie, and I've got a novelization that I'm going to talk about in the same video. So I'm looking forward to that, and then I'll start doing the 80s show as well. So the 80s show has got some great ones, but it's got some really average ones as well. It's not as big a hitter as the original series, but it has got some great ones. And it's got my favourite Richard Matheson story in the 80s one. And I'm going to talk about Richard Matheson on a video I'm filming tomorrow as well, which I hinted at in that video as well, because I said that I was going to do a video of my favourite author. Well, one of my favourite authors. So yeah, that's all good. So BookTube is lovely, isn't it? Would we agree that BookTube is lovely? Maybe I should coax these people out by giving them questions that make people comment. Button. Yeah. That's my favourite Richard Matheson story. Button. So good. And they made a really crap film with Cameron Diaz in it called The Box, which is based on the story. It's like they added loads of other stuff. And it's such a simple concept that's absolutely brilliant. It's got a lovely twist to it. And they've just added loads of stuff. It's like, well, the whole point is just gets diluted into nothing. So they do that, don't they, sometimes? I'm going to ask anyone that's been watching a while to give me one book they think was interesting in that lot that I should read. And if no one's got an idea of what I should read, then clearly I've got hundreds of crap books that I shouldn't read. Biscuits, that's what you need to offer. Yeah. Come on. I'll give you a biscuit. I've got one of my students keeps coming in and asking for a biscuit, and I keep giving her a biscuit, and I'm not really sure if that's fair on the other students, and is it, but she always expects a biscuit. Cheese under a box propped up by a stick. Well, I should trap the people commenting on the videos. Is that what you're suggesting? I'm not sure that's a good idea. Although we have now got rid of our mouse problem. I'm sure I don't need to talk about that on this channel, but we did have a mouse problem because it's an old house. This house goes back to the 1890s or 1880s, I think. So clearly there's going to be holes in the walls now and again. And we have had a mouse problem, but we've had to deal with it. We've got rid of it. So I think we're okay, which is great, because they're an annoying problem, because it's not just they just destroy your food and you end up having to get rid of loads of food, and then you have to what's the word, you have to deep clean everything they were anywhere near. But you've also they've ruined some books because they clearly got bored of looking for food and they started nibbling into books. So I'm glad that seems to have died down. But yeah, I have a cat. Well, I had a cat, but we had the mouse problem when we had Rosie. So we haven't got Rosie anymore. We lost her a few weeks ago, but she would catch the occasional one, and then she'd eat it in front of us, which was obviously very pleasant to see. And sometimes she just sort of, when she was younger, she used to catch one and then she'd drop it in front of us. She'd go, "Hey, aren't I good?" Which was, I guess, more pleasant than watching her eat it. So you didn't know that we'd lost Rosie? Yeah, we've I put up a thing on the community post. We lost Chico, and then we lost Rosie. Literally, what, 2 or 3 weeks later? It was crazy. It's not been good. And now, so Rowlf's on his own, and I've actually got used to Rowlf being on his own now. So it's weird. So I come back from work now, and I expect to see one animal. Well, I was used to see three, and I've got used to it, which is really weird. So we haven't had one animal for a long time because I think ever since we've been together. So in the 30 years we've been together, we've had at least one. We've normally had two. Sorry, we've had at least two. We either had two dogs, or we had a cat and a dog, or for a lot of time we had two dogs and a cat. So it is weird that I've got used to just having Rowlf, and he seems to be okay. He's not. I wondered whether he'd like cope with not having Chico around, but then they stopped communicating really in the last little bit when Chico started going a little bit mad, when he clearly had dementia. They weren't really living together in that sense. They weren't really communicating, um, and he doesn't want to go out anymore, and Chico couldn't go out anymore. So they never went out together. They used to sort of run alongside each other and stuff, and they used to play a little bit together when we took them out. So as they got older, they didn't really do that. So yeah, it seems like he was affected at first. It was a few days where he didn't eat, and he was a little bit more kind of moany because he moans a lot. But yeah, he seems to have got used to being on his own, which is kind of crazy. And I've got used to him being on his own. Yeah, no, it's very sad. And I put up what was it, the June wrap up? I think it was. I ended that with a little compilation photo montage thing of Chico through the years, which was horrible to do. You know, it was very painful to do and painful to watch when I was checking the video out. But I'm glad I did it because he was such a beautiful dog, and he was such a good dog. We haven't had any problems with Chico and Rowlf really. And we have had dogs that have been quite challenged, but they were just such lovely dogs. So, um, and I'm talking about Rowlf in the past tense. Chico was such a lovely dog. Rowlf is a lovely dog, but he's clearly very old. So, he's 17, and he's all right in a minute. But Brandy says Ninja is 13. When he dies, I won't be replacing him. He's my last baby. I can't deal with men pets anymore. It's too hard. Yeah, it is really hard. We're using my pets. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. We're losing my pets. I can't. I'll read it out again. I won't replacing him. I can't deal with my pets anymore. It's too hard. Losing my pets. Yeah. I mean, I spend a lot of time on my own, so I do want another pet, but we've talked about it, and it looks like we're going to get a cat first. But I'd like to have another dog, but looks like we're going to get another cat first. And we've always had half Persians, but we might have a Mancoon who are massive. So we've been looking at that as well. If we have a dog, it'll be a Pekingese because it's Sally's favourite kind of dog. We haven't had a Pekingese for a while. So although I like kind of Shih Tzu crosses, so I'd like to have one of those, but we'll see. But yeah, it won't. I don't. These dogs, these dogs, and Rowlf, Chico, and Rosie aren't going to be our last pets. But I do get it. I absolutely get it. Well, Brandy would say that, and Ali said a similar thing, that she needed a gap, but I don't want a gap. So Mancoons are fluff to the max. Yeah. They have a lot of they look like wild cats. They're one they're really big, but they look like lynxes from the ones I've seen. So it would be like having a dog probably. So they look massive. So it would be quite interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Um, why does it say on stage on your? Oh, I know. It's because I've just done that, doesn't it? Yeah, that's what it means. I've been doing this for a while. I should know that. Anyway, um, I should really stop this. This is a nice little chat, though, isn't it? I love this. I don't normally do. This is not normally. I never do them on my own, really. Even when I do a Q&A one, I get someone to do it with. So I only ever do a solo one, but it's fun talking to you guys, and it feels like a shame, really, to stop the conversation. I'm not that tired. I mean, my brain was going fuzzy, but I'm not that tired. I can delay my egg sandwich for a minute. What time is it? 20 to 3, and it's Sunday. I can get up late tomorrow. Oh, hold on. Okay, so Margaret's going. So Margaret and Brandy, the only ones talking. So maybe I should go. I'm going to do dinner and listen to the rain. What's that line? Listen to the falling rain. Tell me just what a fool I've been. Yeah, you're gonna listen to the rain. It will be telling you what kind of fool you've been. Now that you're alone again. That's very sad. Hopefully that's not ringing true for you, Margaret. Um, and I think even though Brandy has been an awesome companion, I think the other half a dozen of you are quite quiet, aren't you? So maybe if I've ran out of things to say, yeah, so it's a lovely song. I like that song. Oh, I need to go to bed anyway. Yeah, there we go. So I need to just send you off into the wild again and let you enjoy the rest of your life. So thank you everyone for watching and for the comments and I'll never know who these mysterious people are that have been lurking. But hopefully you've enjoyed the live stream. I think there's been at least half an hour where I haven't been talking about books, isn't there? Which is kind of mad. But if you listen to it now, then leave a puppy emoji at the end because Olive always likes that, and that'd be great. If Dave now appears, that'd be great. All right, see you later, everybody, and thank you so much for sharing the morning with me. I can't really say the evening with me because it's 20 to 3 in the morning.